All right, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. This is, of course, our county meeting here in the chambers. We are going through a little bit of audio difficulties, but we're going to work through this so that we have the opportunity to host this meeting and do the best we can. We've had some audio difficulties here. Just to be clear, this is Monday, December the 8th, 2025. This is the council meeting, the regular council meeting of the council. And we did have a closed session, which began at 3 o'clock. Council finished that at about 4:30, 4:45. And we returned at 5:30 to discover that we had an audio problem with our system. And so our clerk staff and other staff here have been contributing to make it work. So we're up and running the best we can at this time. We've accommodated a little change in how public participation in person will happen. And we will move forward with the meeting. All right, members of council, I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Chieftainati, the Wendat, and is the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people as part of the intricate nation that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we're welcoming the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. We're also going to ask the Creator for guidance in helping us with our audio system. There you go. Council, as I said, item number 1 on our agenda was our closed session. We've already completed that, so we move directly to item number 2 of our council agenda. And so the recommendation is, be it resolved that Council of Township Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated December the 8th, 2025 as presented. Take a mover and seconder, Mr. Walker and Ms. Deneen. Thank you very much. Any questions on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Right, that carries. And underneath declarations of pecuniary interest, is there anybody with a declaration tonight on tonight's agenda? No. Seeing none. All right, we'll carry on. At this point, we do have our public participation period, and so we have several things. We have several things to discuss here tonight. Just to remind everyone, we do have the public meeting portion of our agenda, which will include the budget session. So there was some confusion in regards to the public participation period content. We want to make sure that public participation was separated from the budget item discussion. So we do have a few. They're available. The clerk has passed them on to me, so I have them available. But at this time, I'll read the script in advance if there's anybody in the room who would like to join us for public participation period. So we'll start with this. Please be advised that comments and views expressed under the public participation period are not the views of the Township of Clearview Council or administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes, and each person is limited to 5 minutes. Questions or comments are to be directed to the mayor, and questions shall not refer to personnel matters, litigation or potential litigation, or planning matters that have already had a public meeting, or any item considered confidential. And as I said, for those members of the public not able to attend the meeting in person, written public participation can be provided through the township's portal. Written comments shall be received prior to noon the Friday before a regularly scheduled council meeting. And as always, please remember to share the time with your fellow citizens. So I'd like to deal with the 2 that were sent in first, and then we'll go to the public if there are anything from the public. Now, this is a really long email that we received from Ryan McAllister. Ryan brings, I'm going to do my best to try to highlight some of the points in here, and I'll get to his question. He comments in here that former report PCR, or the reports on our agenda, PCR 15/2025, the trailer washroom summer 2025 report from our recreation department. He claims that there's a flaw in it regarding the washrooms for the summer 25, in which to raise several concerns. And the first is that it contains some contradictory statements. The opening indicates positive outcomes that the trailer washrooms were used. However, it later states that these units created more problems than they solved. So these, of course, are comments they come from the staff report, and I appreciate the staff writing it. It was positive that we had the washrooms available. It was difficult because they did cause a lot of operational issues for sure. The units did cost about $100,000 in taxpayers' dollars, which was and the ongoing operational costs. And the question that he brings up is about the issue of the burnout pumps and the minor fire that happened in one of the units where the pump was overheating. Cost to fix them. They appear to be consistently problematic, and a permanent solution would have been a better, more cost-effective, cost-efficient investment from the outset. So first of all, I want to address that issue. Council is very, very aware that there are a need for washrooms across our township and many of our public spaces. Council asked our staff to investigate what we need to provide a better service. The service level that was being provided and the quality of the, let's call them Johnny on the spots, the plastic washrooms, the serviceability of them and the fact that they were being vandalized quite heavily in some of our sports parks led us to make a decision to purchase something that's a little more permanent that would be then had our staff attend and do regular cleanup maintenance and so on. And so this is where we went to the decision as a council that we would purchase these. Initially, we were purchasing two. However, the provider had a third unit, which actually had 3 units available to us. And that third unit, or 3-unit trailer became our third unit purchase because they gave it to us at such a terrific price, to be quite honest. It was a very good purchase for us at that time. So this is why we ended up with 3. And we do have our staff, who are the recreation department staff, who are looking after these trailer facilities. Not only are they doing the cleaning and so on, they're also actually driving the truck to tow them and put them into position and install them, etc. So there was a little bit of a training curve to get them up and running. We did get them put into place, I'd say sort of in the early part of the summer season. It wasn't the whole season, but we did get them put in place and they were being used. And it's also interesting to note that Simcoe County went through a survey process of seniors across all of Simcoe County. Some 4,000 seniors were interviewed about various things across our county. But one of the highlighted things that came out of that survey from the county was that seniors report that the public spaces need more public washrooms. And so that was part of our motivating factor to continue to support that. The second part to this decision was that the cost of actually building a permanent facility and have it immediately available would be a two-year process anyway. And so we weren't prepared to do that, given that we simply didn't have the budget money to do it. But we did have the money to purchase these trailers. So I would support the fact that council made that decision to purchase the trailers. Council made the decision to ask our staff to maintain the trailers and provide the best service they possibly could. Here's the trick in this whole thing, and that is that, boy, were they ever used. Some of the events that happened across our community led us to have to discover quickly that while they're a good unit, they do have their drawbacks when it comes to the quality of some of the hardware that's used on some of the door mechanisms, for sure. Quality when it comes to some of the plastic piping that's inside of it. So there's a lot of concerns that were addressed by our staff, and I think they did the best they possibly could to keep them running. And then the actual volume of usage, the number of people that used it, filled the tanks and making it problematic to get the contractors to come and clean out the tanks and to install and refresh the fresh water in them. So it was an ongoing battle. We are still learning. And I do know that council has discussed it several times. We've had meetings with the Village Green executive, or I guess it's a board now, isn't it? The foundation leadership. We've met with the foundation, and we have certainly had long discussions with that organization as to what to do. So we're certainly looking at this. And I'm, happy to have a discussion with you, Mr. McAllister, if you'd like to reach out to me, and we'll have a call and we can talk about this a little bit more. But the issue is that we are aware that they're not a perfect solution, but they are a solution. They're providing us a service that we absolutely need. And we're frankly at the point where we get a little overwhelmed when we have huge special events with 2,000 and 3,000 people show up in Creemore, and the station on the green washrooms operated by volunteers, and then the washroom trailer, which is a 3-position washroom, is still causing us a lot of grief. We're frankly getting there as fast as we can. I would suggest that whenever we have special events, that this is one of the big concerns all of our special event planners have for outdoor special events, given that we have to make sure we have these facilities available. So we're looking into this more. So I want to thank Mr. McAllister for sending in this question, and it's a good email. All of council have seen it, and we'll take a look at it and see what else we can come up with. Perhaps during the budget process, we're going to have a discussion about that as well. And as the mayor, I may ask council to put some more items in our council budget for next year to help support this. So I'm going to move on to the next question. And the next question was a little shorter and to the point, I suppose. This is a public participation question for Mr. Dave Witzka. Mr. Witzka writes that what was the cost of the flawed Clearview transit study? I say flawed because, or as offered to, I say flawed as offered none of the above option on initial questions. You weren't able to proceed, therefore resulting in skewed, biased results. So I can't answer that directly because council was not directly involved in creating the questions on there. But I do know that the questionnaire was certainly focused on the Stainer community as the current transit system operates in and around Stainer. And the none of the above option, I'm sure that there are many people right in Stainer who don't use the service, but it is a service that has proven it's a needed service in our community, and council continues to support it at this time. And so I would suggest to you that the survey, while it was very much focused on Stainer, I, of course, as the mayor, am always interested in how we focus our survey information on all of Clearview. And I think that that is good information that you've provided to us, Mr. Witzka, and I will take that under consideration next time we're involved in any type of survey to look for that type of option in there. So thank you for sending that in. Now, those are the two that were received that are for public participation. And so now I look to the floor. Are there anyone who would like to speak to public participation? For public participation, not the budget discussion, public participation. Please come forward. And as prearranged, we've asked for them to join us over here next to Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker has a microphone right there. Nice to see you, Lisa. Press that button. There you go. Okay. Push that down towards you there. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
We are concerned with the MPAC assessed property values within the township of Clearview. We understand that taxes are calculated by updating the mill rate each year and multiplying by the assessed value calculated by MPAC. But the assessed values are out of date. MPAC mandate was to update assessed values every 4 years. MPAC was scheduled to be updated in 2020. As the last update was 2016. This assessment review was delayed in 2020 because of the COVID pandemic and has never been rescheduled to my knowledge. That means most property values are 9 years old. The average home price has increased approximately 81% since 2016 in Clearview. New properties are appraised at current market value. MPAC properties who have permits for upgrades are reappraised. However, it seems there are many properties which have been updated using building permits but have had no change in their appraised value. When is this inconsistency between property values going to change?
You're absolutely right. There is a problem with the impact. There we go. You're absolutely right. There is a problem with the impact system. And that is the province of Ontario did create that freeze. It is beyond our control, for sure. I can tell you at AMO meetings that we've been to, the delegates at AMO have asked for the sort of a phased-in approach. You know, take 4 years to bring the impact values equalized. It hasn't happened yet. AMO has asked for this a couple times. I would like to see it happen too. I'm not sure how we can change that or adjust that from the municipal level at this point, because we are not involved in that. Each of us as property owners have to face that impact sets that value. And I trust it's difficult. I did a renovation at my own home and I had to change my tax level too. So because of it, so I understand how you feel. I'm not sure, perhaps our treasurer would like to comment on the most recent impact information that we've received.
Thank you, Worship, through you to council and the public. I just wanted to do a quick update. When rolls, so new homes are added to the roll, they're actually put on our roll at what they would have been worth in 2016. So it's not an actual current value, it is a comparable. We have no word from MPAC on when we will be getting a new assessment roll. As soon as we know, you'll know.
I understand. And it's difficult because I fear we're all going to be facing a huge jump because it's been a 2016 number. So we're all going to be facing that as taxpayers across all of Ontario. Right, Kelly?
Yes and no. So our jump, you're going to see your assessment jump from, for the average home in Clearview, say 313,000. You'll see that jump to whatever number is the current value. The difference is the tax dollars that we require will stay consistent. It'll just be divided out amongst different numbers. So you're still going to get comparatively the same amount of a tax bill. It'll just be on a higher value tax at a lower tax rate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, all right. Does that help, please? I understand it's difficult, right? I mean,
We're asking for pressure. If you are able to.
We are.
Pressure, that needs to.
as I said, the AMO folks, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, their board has pressed us a few times. They haven't had any response from the provincial government on that. Letters to our MPP would probably be helpful. Right on. Thank you. All right, are there other members who would like to speak at public participation period? Hello, sir. Right over here. Say hello to Robert Walker.
Good evening. In 2023, I sent a letter to the council. Basic issues. I own a property near. So I raised the issue on the 2023, the tax rate are not put in line with. What the township is within the area here. So. This time I redid exactly the same kind of work and what I received a. I'm pretty sure they don't have a chance to read it yet because I sent it a 4 months that they knew. So what I did is I looked at the. From 2022 to today, your budget. The distribution, the increase of rates. And what we arrived to the conclusion is that for 2026, you're going to increase the tax, the municipal tax, rather than combined, municipal tax by 5.5%. That's way above the I call that the CPI, so the consumer price index was 2.2. So you're way above twice. So it's just nice that you present numbers to the public to say, oh, your tax not going to increase more than 2% or something like that. I have concern that you have raised the last meeting that some citizens are having trouble to pay their tax. If I just try to compare the tax rate here compared to about 15 different other township within the Simcoe County. Yeah, they are almost the top one, the most expensive one. There is great incentive for somebody if you look at tax, you come with this township. You're going to be going to a lot of other ones and they're going to be a lot less tax. So it's just nice to say you want to grow, but you also have to decide what's important here. And like my parents say in the past, when I grow up, money doesn't grow in trees. Okay. So what about that? To give you an example, if I pay my tax, if I have a house and $500 million, So we'll pay about $6,400. At the municipal that combined. But if I have the same house. And I am in. Torcello Road, which doesn't the sun here. I'm gonna pay $2,100 less. And so on and so on, so. I think I have to look pretty seriously at the tax rate and this starting to look at and say. What's important, whether we can afford it. And instead of say, oh, there's another increase. I'm decided to look at what we should cut down and do certain things. Or your cost, but my cost is by paying the tax.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all taxing and we all feel this, impact. I think the point. Whenever I hear people compare us to other municipalities. I must point out that we are by far an agricultural community. So most of our land is ag land. Okay, and does not pay 100% tax, they only pay 25. And that's fine, because that's provincial standard across the whole province, and we do that to support the greater good of agriculture. The other point I want to point out, particularly the Agila Tuscarania, which is an absolutely beautiful place, really is. But the service levels that they have are much different than the service levels you see here. As in, we have arenas, we have a discussion here at this council whether we continue our swimming pool. These are heritage facilities that we adopted once we became an amalgamated municipality. We have more roads than most to plow, so we have a lot of heavy equipment we have to operate, and we have more staff in the public works department than a lot of places. So we have a pretty complex operation, considering we're a small municipality, and so unfortunately, that's the reality of what's happened since amalgamation. Over 30 years now, we're at the point where we have to make some expensive decisions about facilities that we have to keep or not. This municipality has to make tough decisions about, what type of services we're going to keep or not, or what things we're going to invest in for the good of small business in our community and as well as large ones. So there's a lot here with that play. I would say to you that we are a growing community, but we've also been very good at keeping that growth in the settlement area. Exactly what the PPS wants us to do. Keep it within the settlement area so that we don't have expanded growth all over the town. So I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But this is a difficult environment for us to be in with the statutory responsibilities we have from the province of Ontario. And the limitations we have on how much we can, in fact, collect. So it's different. Sir, do you have something else you want to add?
Yeah.
Marty's at the end.
The 2023 one that's been on there.
Yes.
Your staff push it back, is that the same way that saying, oh, we don't have industrial base, there's a region also doesn't have industrial base. So we are not the only show down for that part. But they seem to have their tax rate in line, more in line with the average. So what I would suggest is that you strike your staff to the benchmarking, to start to look not only in Simcoe County, outside Simcoe County, a region or township or similar tier. On the inside, it can be in the walking industrial that there is, and compare rates. And also about providing stuff with them about service the offer compared to what you have.
Right. I appreciate that. Before you go, I'll ask Mr. Beeland if you have something you want to add.
Thank you, Richard. I was just wondering if you could update your email with how you calculated some of these things and where you got the information. Not really explicit where you got it.
No,
Thanks.
no problem, okay, I can send you all the information.
All right. Thank you.
Anyhow.
Yeah, it's a significant email and I appreciate it. So thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very great. If there's anyone else who wishes to come forward for public participation period at this time. Public participation period. Going once, twice? Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for participating and actually having some patience with us. Acknowledge that our CIO was running around turning down microphones. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. All right. Council, we're gonna move on. We do have a delegation. I'm hoping the delegation's gonna be able to join us. Is that oh, the delegate, oh, he's right here, of course. Sorry. I thought that's- Should have introduced me earlier. I didn't do that. Good. And sure, come on over here. Yeah. Matthew's here, right? That's me. Matthew lit up. Okay. Matthew, nice to have you here. Sorry that you're here tonight and we're having difficulty with our sound system, but we're trying to accommodate best we can.
No problem at all. Thank you very much. Can you folks hear me as this comes through okay?
Yeah.
Well, good evening, councilors, staff, and residents of Clearview Township. My name is Matthew Latavo. I'm a professional engineer, consultant, and innovation lead with the firm called Nocturne Ranger. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of my team to present the findings of our transit study for Clearview Township. Next slide, please. So the study looked at your current service within the township and identified ways to improve efficiency, coverage, and convenience for your residents. We looked for ways to better integrate with Simcoe County links and neighboring transit services in Collingwood and St. Beach. The study is intended to prepare transit services for future growth and needs of residents throughout the township. Next slide, please. Our project kicked off in July of this year and walked through a 4-stage process. We were on site to experience our transit service firsthand, and we provided opportunities to engage the public, including the survey, which was mentioned earlier, and 2 virtual open houses. The final report was delivered to staff at the end of November, and this presentation is a summary of the study and recommendations within that report. Next slide. Transit service launched in Clearview in 2017, and through that time, we've done a fairly deep dive into some of the data, the historical information, and some of the past solutions that you've achieved and you've tested and tried. With the exception of a brief pilot of service between Stainer and Ringmore in late 2019 and early 2020, you know exactly what happened thereafter. Service has remained largely the same, with minor modifications to address stop changes and additionally new development, such as the relocation of the food land to Granite and Junction Road. Over the past several years, ridership has remained relatively consistent, fluctuating between about 13,000 and 15,000 riders per year. In 2025, we're estimating relatively conservatively, so hopefully a little bit higher than these numbers, but we're estimating about 13,500 to 14,000 riders before the end of December. Through our initial assessment of your existing service, we did identify a few concerns of what looks like duplicative service between Stainer and St. Beach, where riders can take both links and Clearview Transit. However, when we dove in deeper, our assessment indicates that most of those riders using the County Link service are actually traveling beyond St. Beach into Collingwood, where your service is really bringing folks to that key commercial center, Metro Canadian Superstore, I feel like them mostly, as well as access to the Ramblewood Benefit Center. Next slide, please. So I mentioned before the Superstore connection. That's actually the most heavily utilized stop in your service area today, which stresses really the importance of connecting your residents into that actual area. Historically, within Stainer, the most used stops are your arena, Stainer Heritage Institute, and a former foodland location on Port Road. We expect that the current location of the foodland to also grow its ridership usage, and that development will continue to expand transit usage in that part of the community. Through our investigation on board your transit service, as well as in discussion with operators, we noted that left turns, particularly on Main Street and Highway 26, cause some significant delays, especially where intersections are not protected, so you're not getting that left turn signal. Additionally, the routing was identified to be relatively confusing. There's several deviations and some backtracking, and these were elements that were identified as well. Next slide, please. In addition to your fixed route transit service, you also have Transit Plus, which is your specialized transit service. We did look into this, and this is actually a very interesting and, in my opinion, very novel way of delivering specialized transit in a community like yourselves. Your current service is operated in collaboration with Collingwood and Pacific Beach, which allows for seamless travel between those communities, which is vitally important given how many of those important services that individuals with disabilities rely on, which are in Collingwood. Transit Plus is an accessible service that's made available to individuals with disabilities. It's required as part of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, recommend there is a fair start transit service. In Clearview Township, riders in Ottawa and Stainer can access Transit Plus. Through our analysis, we identified about 15% of all Transit Plus customers and trips are connecting to, from, or within Clearview Township. But the vast majority, would say about 99% of all those trips connect into your brain. Next slide, please. After assessing your fixed route service and your Transit Plus service, we identified that in general, you're pretty aligned with the buyers. And in some cases, you're actually able to provide higher quality of service than some of those peers. We looked at your neighbors, including Collingwood and Pacific Beach. We looked at other communities across Simcoe County, as well as municipalities in Southern and Eastern Ontario. And where we found a few differences that do exist between what you deliver here and what other communities deliver, those decisions were relatively intentional and they made sense for your community. For example, a lot of peers today are deploying something called on-demand or demand responsive transit alongside or maybe instead of fixed route service. However, given your current concentration of service in Stainer and an interest in that will get to you later in maintaining cost-effective service that's convenient and reliable for your customers, we found that moving to a demand responsive service would likely not cost any less and likely introduce additional opportunities for challenging reliability issues in the long term. So that decision, I would say, continues to be a sound one. Additionally, your fare card system, which allows residents to fill out a smart card to then use that to pay for transit, is the same technology again used in Collingwood, Pacific Beach, and Simcoe County, which presents a really important and unique opportunity for collaboration. And next slide, please. So all of these pieces were really done, with some desktop research, and we then went to the community and went up to your staff and employers throughout the township in order to kind of verify some of these findings. Community members and residents were engaged through the survey and 2 public open houses that were made available online. And although resident response rates were relatively low, I do want to stress that the responses that we did receive were very informative and useful for our assessment. And generally, more improvements. Some of the key findings through all of this engagement, including engagement with staff, the operator, landmark, and employers throughout the township, as well as with your residents, indicated that many of those things that we discovered ourselves, so that those last terms were increasingly a challenge, both from a reliability perspective and a safety perspective. That connections between Stainer and Pacific Beach were very critical, but so it was an interest in the connection to Greenmore. And there was concern that the existing relatively limited coverage and limited span of service might actually restrict access to jobs within the township. Next slide, please. So all of this sort of wrapped up into our what we identified as 5 strategic objectives. So these objectives are 1, to strengthen the Stainer routing to improve efficiency and safety. 2, to ensure that staff and the township has sufficient resources to provide reliable service. 3, to improve integration of Clearview Transit with Simcoe County links and your neighbors. 4, to provide a cost-effective service that meets the needs of your community. And 5, to foster transit supportive development and planning of the township. So the next slide here presents the cornerstone of our proposal for improved service within the community. So we have here a new route network that really is trying to address many of those strategic objectives all in one. First of all, you'll notice that the starting is significantly simpler than the current routing, which allows the service to operate more safely and efficiently and reduce confusion for potential riders. Service is designed to actually be centered here at the administrative center, where connections to county links are already available. So this will improve the opportunity for connection here. We are still recommending that you maintain a connection to the site of beach, as well as introduce that new connection to Creemore, reintroduce that connection to Creemore. Service to the site of beach is expected to continue to be heavily utilized. But in the long term, we find additional opportunities to collaborate with links and further address additional efficiency opportunities. The proposed service to Creemore is relatively minimal and at baseline at this stage. And the intent for that is to really begin to establish it as an alternative and open up access to employment and community events. In a later slide, I'll show you exactly what you can do in the future as demand grows there. But I think most importantly, and this is really that first bullet here on this slide, these improvements and changes are cost control. They require no additional investment in service hours. They don't require you to purchase the instances. All of these things can be done relatively quickly and with only minimum capital costs of relocating the key customers. Next slide, please. So as you can see on this slide, this is an example of a weekday schedule that we present here. So the service is designed to be run in 30-minute chunks. So every single trip, whether it's Stainer, a trip out and back to the center beach, or a trip out to Creemore takes exactly about 30 minutes round trip, plus a little bit of time for catching up on the schedule if there's delays. So what that means is that at any point in time, if you decide that you need additional service to Creemore, have service to the side beaches lagging, you can switch out any of these trips in the future without disturbing the rest of the schedule. This really improves that ability to then be flexible in the long term, as the manage changes and opportunities to better collaborate with some things improve. In fact, what we've intentionally designed here is the departure time from your administrative center will align with the Simcoe County Links schedule, so that way you're kind of encouraging that method of usage of that service. Next slide, please. So ridership growth is expected to be relatively modest over the next few years, and that's largely because we are repurposing existing service hours and trying to make better efficient use of that without investing a great deal of time or a great deal of additional time into the service. The Creemore ridership is going to likely lag or appear relatively low, and that is intended to really just start as a baseline so that we can begin the conversation and identify better opportunities in the long term, as well as since we got accustomed to seeing transit in their community. Ridership will stay each will remain strong, but as we'll see in a couple of additional slides, there will be future opportunities to eliminate some of that service duplication with Simcoe County Links, and then bring some more of service towards your community during the township. Next slide, please. I do want to address some of the other connection opportunities as well. So some of these were indicated by staff and through some of our consultation as areas of investigation, but at this point, we're not recommending specific changes to the service. Largely because these communities are in areas that could be better served by some of your neighbors or your partners. So Ottawa was identified as an important opportunity to connect in with transit. Right now, it is served by Transit Plus. Due to its proximity to Collingwood, we would recommend that you investigate a collaboration with Boltrans in the future in order to make that connection a little bit more seamless into their neighboring community. And then New Lowell was also recommended as an area of interest. And because of its relative proximity to existing county link services, there may be an opportunity to collaborate there that would be better suited through Clearview Transit today. Next slide, please. So I mentioned that there's several other recommendations in support, and we identified an additional 7 actions that the township can consider. I won't list all of these right now, but I do want to just highlight a couple of them. One is the item that's sort of to our understanding already in progress, which includes the signalization of that intersection at Main Street and Branch. That would be really important as part of maintaining the safety and reliability of the transit service. In addition to some the other community benefits that will create. The other piece is more an ongoing conversation and something that will take time. And that's around identifying the opportunity to better integrate your fares. And so collaborate more closely with the fare program and the fare system, specifically with County Links and with Collingwood and Pacific Beach. Eliminate some of that service duplication and find some opportunities for further efficiency. So, and my next to last slide is really just a summary. I just want to return to our proposed service map to stress some of these following key points. One, the service efficiencies improvements to both coverage and service levels made today without any additional operating hour investment or additional vehicles. Two, the proposed changes make it very easy to add an enhanced service if in a few years' time you do wish to expand your service, and it's very easy to add those service levels. Three, the ongoing infrastructure improvements you're already making and ongoing work around improving sidewalk access and crosswalks will improve transit access. And finally, four, long-term collaboration opportunities. We're hoping to set you up with some tools in your toolbox, if you will, for some of those conversations and negotiations with Simcoe County Links and neighbors to further open up collaboration and efficiencies. With that, thank you very much. I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation and your work on this. I'm sure there'll be some questions, but I just want to give the opportunity to Dan Perot, if you have anything you want to add before we go to questions, or Dan?
No, I don't think, your worship, maybe I have some comments on my report that's next, but just want to thank Matt and his team at Left Intern. It's been a pleasure working with them and gaining some knowledge on ways to implement some of these transit operation improvements. I'm also here to answer any questions if you'd like, your worship, but I may have more just to add on my report just next.
All right, well, stand ready and we'll get to the report soon. First of all, I say Mario Beelan, Councillor Beelan has a question.
Thank you, worship. Just looking at your pie charts, there's 4 colors in the legend and 5 colors on the pie. What is the black there, 904, 15%?
Thank you very much for that. Through your worship to the councillor. So that black chunk of the pie is the total number of trips that were within or touching Clearview out of all of Transit Plus service. So the information and data we had included all the trips in Collingwood and Pacific Beach. So that showed about 15% of all of their service. It applies directly to Clearview residents and folks traveling to or from Clearview. Of that, which is now the 3 other colors on the right hand side, that shows where people are traveling to and from.
Perfect. And do you have any information on winter use versus summer, like for the weather? Because I would expect more people use the transit in the wintertime, right?
Great question. Through your worship, to the councillor, we actually didn't observe a significant change in ridership over the course of the year, depending on season. And our speculation is that folks who are using transit are using it regardless of what the current weather is, really, as they're using it all seasons.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, worship. Matt, a couple questions. First of all, your relationship with Links. We as councillors for Simcoe County are doing the review, of course, right now with our own situation. And we've got a couple communities within our Simcoe County, for instance, New Tecumseh, Actual Tecumseh have no bus service whatsoever right now, and they're screaming to get one. Have we talked much, did you look much at the integration of other systems, especially with the potential expansion for Simcoe County?
So through your worship to the deputy mayor, our assessment unfortunately did not get in front of Simcoe County and their ongoing work, so they're actively doing their own planning work right now. And there was some effort made at the beginning to do some those items. I'll also share that we have been working with Sago Beach on their home transit master plan, which is, I believe, scheduled to go in front of council in the new year. So there were opportunities to collaborate there. They were able to glean some information on where Simcoe County is moving their plan, but unfortunately, there wasn't really a lot of direct opportunity to collaborate there. Hopefully that.
Second question, you mentioned about employment, and to us, that's one of our strong reasons for having a bus service. I know we've had the bus service in the past from Creemore and it didn't work. I noticed in your scheduling, you put 9, 10, 11, 10, and 1, 10. To me, if a person has to go to work, you're looking at a 7:30 window or an 8 o'clock window or whatever. And talk about that in regards to our major employers, both within Clearview and outside of Clearview. What do they want?
So through your worship, the crux of our service design at this point was to really kind of keep your service hours to what they currently are today. So you can flex them earlier and later and make some adjustments. And we can leave that with staff, and we talk with staff about how they can do that. Specifically how to address some of the requests from employers. We did note that the majority of the shift time misses were at that early period before your existing services is there, and also at the later evening after your service is kind of closed off. So in order to address those, there would need to be some form of infusion of additional operating dollars, and we are right now working on trying to keep things within the current state. What we did notice was there was a within your current service, there's actually those early morning trips out into Wasaga Beach are actually relatively well utilized. And those particular trips we speculate are for folks who are trying to get out to employment opportunities out at Innocent Beach and then return back later in the afternoon. But within, I would say within county, Clearview Township, we did discuss with a couple of your employers along just around the Fairport Road. I forgot what maybe Rangers. Thank you very much. Yeah. We did speak with them and they mentioned that it was more the shift times at the beginning of the day that were a challenge to accommodate the transit.
Just adding to that, is it important we have our Saturday service? Does that come into play for employment as well, or is that more for commuter, we'll say?
Yeah, through your worship. So I would say absolutely it is really critical, particularly for anyone working in shift work, anyone working part-time work. Even at some of the retail locations, Saturday service, weekend service in general is really important to have as that option. It's not generally going to be as popular as your weekday service, and that's by intent. But it is important to have that option there for folks who are not working a standard Monday to Friday type of shift. So yes, I would say yes, it's important.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. I see Councillor Walker. Is there other members of council? All right, go ahead, Robert. Thank you.
Not so much question, just I appreciate the new proposed road. It certainly simplifies the whole system in Stainer. The other thing I'd like to see, you mentioned it about the links and transit to the beach. I certainly would like to see that service a little more togetherness, because you get one bus following the other bus to the beach. So I think we need to look at eventually backing off the Stainer going to the beach. It would save wear and tear on our own vehicles, but no sense in duplicating of services if they're then 5 or 10 minutes each going down. So that I'd like to see looked at, and I know we're moving that way. The other thing is fares. How do you feel on what are the other municipalities with the fares, and where are we in that scale of cost effectiveness at this point?
Through your worship. So in respect to fares, in particular, I'll just right off the bat, you folks are right in alignment, I would say, with Wasaga Beach and Collingwood. I believe Collingwood is, I want to say 25 cents more per trip, but otherwise you folks are in alignment there. Where and this is getting to the Simcoe County links and integration with Wasaga, where that becomes a little more challenging is with that county link service. That fares are different, and you do require a second fare if you're transferring from Clearview Transit onto Simcoe County. And that is really the crux of that fare integration piece, is finding some way to align that. Because right now, because the fare is more expensive on Simcoe County links, folks are taking that to get further distances. Whereas folks are staying on Clearview Transit just to get into the superstore. And that difference in trip purpose makes it very difficult to take away one at the first time.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'll have a quick stab at something here, and that is the Creemore connection. Council made a decision at that time to cut the Creemore service. During COVID, it was just not being used, and we had plenty of information to show us that we can run the bus back and forth, and it's just not being used. And then there was nobody using it in COVID anyway, and council just didn't return it back to operation. I have not been motivated or have not heard of anybody informing me that they really want the service back. Well, I think it's honorable that you put it into the report, because it is a certain large urban center in our municipality. You know, we've not had any recommendations come from the public or even from the larger employer down there, which would be Creemore Springs, for that. So I'm just gonna look at our staff. Have we had any type of recommendation since then? Nothing? Dan, have you had any contact with anybody from Creemore businesses that are looking for support from transit?
Yeah, through your worship, at the staff level, I have not. I think possibly other staff have,
I think it had more to do with
expanding our specialized transit as well. So in the areas where we service transit, that opens an opportunity for that specialized piece.
Well,
So I think that's where it kind of led to. There's more requests. I think there was a few more requests than the conventional transit.
the request came from the specialist transit side, I believe, but that's what I recall.
I would support that too, because I know through the county, we've had requests through county as well. So anyway, it's kind of very interesting that the recommendation from your report would ask for us to bring that back when we haven't seen that sort of come to the table strongly. So I would hope that if there are members of the public from the Creemore area that have that consideration, that they reach out to our staff or council and have that conversation. But to me, that's not in the cards this time. Do you have any comment further as to why Creemore would be added to your report?
Absolutely, thank you, Your Worship, for the question. So like what Dan just mentioned, as far as where the initial request came from, there was a lot of conversation from around the Transit Plus access to that community. And that would be sort of an opportunity there as well. Where this sort of became an opportunity for fixed-route transit was largely in the events kind of management and providing additional opportunities to travel between Stainer and Creemore, particularly in the summer months and when there's events ongoing. The proposal that we have in front of you really kind of tries to generalize it, make it a little bit more of an all-year thing. That's not to say that it needs to be, because it is a kind of a cost neutral change. Those trips can be redirected to Victoria Beach or to stay within Stainer and improve the service within. The recommendation would be to explore it perhaps in a similar light to how that original pilot was, but with a little bit more of perhaps a concerted effort to publicize it and to really make it an option for residents there. But I would also add that if you introduce Transit Plus service without a conventional option, it does make it a lot more difficult to move folks to regular fixed route transit, if that is more appropriate for them and their abilities.
Good information. Last point that I'll just bring up, and I must bring it up, and that is that the Ottawa Caltrans conversation has been at least 5 years, where we continue to bring it up. We don't seem to get anywhere on that one, and yet it's a common request, you know, while I, as your mayor, I do not get calls about adding a Creemore bus,
But I do get calls about,
Nottawa connecting to Collingwood. So, just sharing that. I'm not sure how well that might have been reflected in some of the survey results, given that it really wasn't part of that. Because I know, as I stated earlier in the meeting, this survey was very much focused on the Stainer community and to help make some of those changes. And so that's all I'll just state on that. The last point I do want to ask, and this is more of a technical driver question, perhaps Dan or yourself might be able to help answer it. The route change you're proposing, it was on your map, would be down Sunnydale Street to center line, and then north on center line to Highway 26. Then there's a very good left turn coming off of center onto 26 to approach the light there. So that's a good corner, there's no doubt. I don't know. I'm sure a big bus will be well visible for people to see that, and the driver will do everything they can to make that corner safely. I just think that that's an interesting turn for transit bus to make from that type of roadway. I don't know of any other option to it other than to just do it carefully. So, you know, I think all the other turns are something that can be handled. That's the one busy intersection where traffic is turning south on Centerline Road, traffic is turning north on 7, people are coming out of Stainer and accelerating. So it's a busy potential for traffic congestion at that point. So I think that might be the only turn that's a question to me. Any comment on that?
I'm happy to do that. First, thank you, Your Worship, for that comment. Yes, and we are recognizing that one is a little bit more, the more challenging part of the routing. We're maintaining that one there because of the proximity to the light over off of County Road 7. Yeah. We're hoping that provides a bit of a break in that flow, particularly flow out of Stainer, so that they can make that left-hand turn. And that's the intent of kind of maintaining that one. The remaining ones on the previous routing were very difficult to make because of tight quarters, slow traffic, complex kind of movements all at once. That was sort of the one that we couldn't address in our new routing. But yeah, we definitely recommend, you know, monitoring that and making sure that drivers are trained appropriately.
Well, more to come on that whole section of highway right there, that's for sure. Thank you very much for your input on this. Mr. Walker, did you have one more thing you want to
Say, is there a possibility to reverse the new road? So that they would come out of Foodland and Grand Trunk, turn left and hopefully the lights be there in spring. Go along, then turn right on the center line and turn right on to Sunnydale and make your circuit through Stainer Valley.
Thank you very much for the question. Through your worship, we did look at that and it would add a little bit of extra time if we were to try and maintain the other right hand turns and the other say left turns through and say the western half of the road. So we have to kind of do a bit of a figure eight, which fortunately would create a convoluted routing we're trying to avoid. And at time that would actually risk the reliability. But thank you very much for the suggestion. If we did look at it, appreciate you bringing it up.
All right, well, thank you very much. I don't think there's anything further. Does anybody else have anything? All right, I want to thank you very much for your presentation. I think you probably just want to stand by in the audience in case we need you. But we do have a report that's been moved up on our agenda, council, to consider at this time. So council moved directly to report PW 023-2025 as the Clearview Transit Study Review. The recommendation says, be it resolved, the council of the township hereby receive report PW 023-2025, the Clearview Transit Study Report dated December the 8th, 2025. Item 1, the council directs staff to make
the recommended route changes identified in the Clearview Transit Study Report attached as Appendix A to this report to be implemented in the spring of 2026. And item number 2, that council support the staff working with transit providers, landmark bus lines, town of Collingwood, town of Clearview,
County of Simcoe links to implement Other supporting recommendations in the Clearview Transit Study Report. Moved by Mr. Deputy Mayor, seconded by Mr. Broderick. Thank you very much. Members of council, do you have any questions on the recommended report? I will have one. That would be that from the discussion we've had, while the wording is very good to implement, Mr. Pro implementing a bus line to Creemore, well, I think we should hold that as a decision of council if we want to do that. Okay? Like I think that there's everything in here you can do, but although it's a recommended future project, I don't think that this motion gives us permission to go ahead and activate a bus line to Creemore without council having a better discussion. Does that make sense? Everybody's nodding your heads. Mr. Perot, you're clear with that?
Yeah, thank you, worship. Yeah, if that's what council will just not include that link to Creemore. And I guess the only conversation would be that would you want that trip to go up to Wasaga Beach or keep it within Clearview? That's one of the bright spots, I believe, of the report, and how left turn, right turn has aligned our routing, that they're half-hour chunks. So you can pull out a half an hour to go to Wasaga Beach, and maybe it's an extra loop within Stainer. So, would council like that, or would just take the Creemore route out and leave it going to Wasaga Beach?
Can I ask perhaps, Mr. Pro, if council receives this report as we discussed with the kind ask to not include the Creemore extension until council further discusses it. Perhaps if you had that change that you wanted to recommend, you could bring it back as a supplemental report to this. Once we have it all implemented, then you can make a decision if we can remove a half hour out and leave the bus in an idle position for 20 minutes for the driver to take a break or something like that. I mean, perhaps you could bring that back, that maybe we can save. I mean, right now, the recommendation would keep the bus going to Wasaga Beach as is, right?
The recommendation as it is would be to implement the routing as outlined in left and right turns appendix. So that would mean that I'm just going to pull it up again here. So that we would not implement the Creemore route at 9:10 a.m. That it would remain as a Wasaga route. Can you put that up for me again?
Well, let me ask council, do you have any thoughts on this? Council, go ahead, Paul.
I think personally, we should, before we jump at this, if we want to change the route within Creemore to make it more efficient, I don't have a problem with that. I see the people in the morning because I go to work early to see the people on the Wasaga route, so we can't change that yet. And I personally think we should either poll or do something to ask the people of Creemore, will they support it? Because it's one thing to give it to them, but if they're not going to support it. So whether we engage the BIA downtown and get them to get the support, I personally would like, for the most part, to leave it the way it is until we get their act or whatever, and if we get the BIA on side, I think that's really important in a decision like this. So I would say change the route in Stainer, leave the Wasaga connection going, and let's work towards getting the Creemore on site.
That seems fair. Council, do you have any other thoughts? And I hope we're still working with Caltrans too, if you're not. Yeah, smiling because we've been out here for a while, but anyway.
So there, your worship, if I may, yes, there were some questions on our partnership or connection with Lynx Transit and Collingwood and Wasaga Beach Transit. And I can let you know that staff have regular meetings with the other three partners in our transit system in this area. And our operations technologist, Dan White, he sits on that and brings back good information. So the fare integration, sort of looking at better ways to link with the links transit are discussed on a regular basis. So that those are ongoing
conversations
that we continue to have. With regards to Caltrans and the connection to Nottawa, I continue to have conversations with staff at Collingwood. They are, they know our need or what our ask is, and are attempting to add additional routes to the south end of Collingwood. I don't think those are going successfully, but it is on their minds, and we continue to talk about it as well as part of that transit group that we have discussions.
Thank you very much. Paul, something else?
I just want to talk quickly about their link system, because the county of Simcoe's in a review process right now. And they're very adamant on the improvement in services, whether it be the unification of fares and not duplicating services, whatever the issues are. I suspect we're going to see changes in the next 12 months. And if that happens, we're going to be having this whole conversation once again. Whether we, we may not even have it, county may take the whole thing, we don't know. So let's not keep it as simple, keep it as straightforward as we can for now.
Logical. Okay. Madam Clerk, do you accept that amendment in there that we talked a little about, not implementing the Creemore bus line, appendix A, until such time as council is approved?
Thank you, Worship. I would suggest a friendly amendment that states after the transit study report, with the exception of the route to Creemore at this time.
Simple and sounded. Movers and seconders are comfortable with that? Thank you. Okay, we'll consider that a friendly amendment. All right. Council, you've heard the recommendation with the additional item that the clerk has put in. There's nothing further. I am prepared to call a motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right. We've got through our transit discussion. I want to thank you for your work on that. Left turn, right turn, right turn, left turn. You guys need to use that bicycle thing, Yeah. That's a little promotional. Anyway. Okay, thank you very much, Alex. All right, we're gonna move over to our public meeting at this time, unless there's any objection. All right, so we're gonna move to our public meeting. We do have a script to read, because it is a public meeting. It's underneath the public meeting in regards to the budget. Well, I've got a little script here, so we're going to initiate the public meeting portion of tonight's agenda. The public meeting is being held to present the staff proposed 2026 Clearview Township corporate budget and obtain public input and comment. Please be advised that any written or oral comments made at the public meeting will form part of the public record. Your communication or any personal information therein will be made available to the public. The views expressed in the public comments are solely those of the individuals provided them and do not reflect the opinions of the township, its agents, or its employees. It is not possible for the township to verify the accuracy of all information provided by members of the public, and the township therefore assumes no responsibility for any inaccurate information that may be contained within the public comments. So at this time, the public meeting, we're going to introduce Kelly McDonald. She is our township treasurer and director of finance, and he will provide a brief presentation outlining the key items of the 2026 budget, including an explanation of any written comments received, if any, a period for public comments or questions, if any, and an opportunity for questions by council. So at this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to Kelly McDonald, our treasurer. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I've just got a brief slideshow presentation that sort of recaps where we are right now. So we can hit the next slide, please. So the 2026 process, the budget is revolving around council's strategic priorities. Staff do their best to pull that together throughout the early fall, usually starting just after this budget season ends. And then they're presented for council review, that occurred on the 17th and 18th. The original staff presentations brought us in at 2.45. Next slide, please. Just want to outline some of the budget pressures that that municipalities are looking at right now. We did have a capping on the OPP contracts. It still amounted to $255,530 increase over last year. The compensation review resulted in an increase of potentially up to $210,000. The non-residential building price index, which is the one that hits us the most, is at 4.2% for Q3 in 2025. The inflation is down to 2.2%. However, the majority of the things we procure don't fall within that sort of basket of goods. Next slide, please. So this is the summary comparison between 2025 and 2026 capital and operating budget requests. It does not include the OPP, however. Next slide, please. This is the net increased dollars required, again, excluding OPP. So it ends up being 422,837. We are actually down a bit from last year because our growth numbers, which are still being formalized by MPAC, are up to 686,000 from, I believe it was around 480,000 at the last presentation. So this puts us at a Clearview increase of 1.99% and a net tax increase of 2.06%. The next two slides, they're also available in the budget summary, which is posted on our website. Clearview remits 44 cents out of each dollar we collect to every one of our service partners. So that includes Simcoe County, the school boards, the OPP, the MVCA. Next slide, please. If they're interested in knowing where that 56 cents that we retain goes, obviously not terribly easy to read on this slide, but again, it is in my budget summary. 27 cents to public works, 7 cents to parks, 3 cents to library, 2 cents to planning, 6 cents to administration, 2 cents to IT, fire receives 6 cents, and bylaw is just under 1 cent. Next slide, please. So in total, there's going to be tax-supported capital investment of $2.38 million for 2026. The next slide just outlines those capital projects. I know, again, it is very hard to see. Unfortunately, the majority of my reports tend to be. It just tells you basically where tax dollars are going to support our capital and infrastructure. And the final slide is questions.
Great, thank you very much. So is there any questions to Kelly at this time from any members of council, just to be clear? All right, thank you very much, Kelly. Please stand by if there's any questions we need to go to. Now, at this point, we're going to go to our questions from the audience. Does anyone in the audience wish to make a comment, ask a question? Questions can be directed to or responded to by the township treasurer, but they should be addressed through me as the chair and the mayor, and we'll do our best to help you answer them. Is there anybody who would like to come forward from the public? I'm seeing some movement in the back here. Mr. McKechnie, please come forward. Welcome.
Thank you, your worship.
You used to sit next to me. I think at one time, didn't you? It used to be in this, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. First of all, congratulations to staff, because I think, what is it, 2.06% is the staff budget? That's reasonable, I think, anyway. So congratulations to staff. Santa Claus is putting you on the nice list this year. Now it's for council. I don't know. Anyway, so the questions that I have for a few people, Kelly, through the mayor to you. Reserves. So previous budgets listed reserves, usually around page 83 of the budget package. It's not in the attached budget summary that you attach to this agenda. Is that normal? Is there will you be coming out with a table of reserves?
Your worship, to council. Mr. McKechnie, yes, so this is simply the staff budget summary. The mayor will then take the budget over. It is a strong mayor budget. Once I'm directed to create the budget package and the tax rate bylaw, that's when that fulsome package that you see, 300 pages or so, will be posted on our website. And you are correct, I think it is exactly page 84, the 2025 one is on, so.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it is nice to see that, just to know how much we do have it in
Reserves.
But, okay, so speaking of reserves, the community hall reserve, I know 4 years ago, we had $1.5 million in there. We were contributing $250,000 a year to it. Is there anything left in that reserve now, and are we still contributing the $250,000?
Through your worship, we are still contributing the 250,000. That reserve has been exhausted for the first two halls, which is what we expected. Council has put a mild hold on the AOD renovations, obviously slower economic times. When we do start back up, we're hoping that reserve is built back up enough to begin again, if that's the will of council.
Okay, thanks. So I think you just answered my next question. So the renovations on the other halls has been put on hold until we get more money, right?
I'll jump in there, Councillor, former Councillor McKechnie. We did put a hold on directing staff to continue to do the renovations until such time as we have a better funding model. We have asked for funding, as I think you're aware, and most of this council is aware, we've asked several times. There's several opportunities that have not received provincial granting to help us with that. And so it's really difficult to continue to do that. So we will continue with the fund of $250,000 to keep building the reserve. And we will perhaps use some of that money to do some engineering work and or drawing maybe necessary if we make decisions on any other hall. But there won't be any projects move forward until we know we can support the funding model to continue.
Okay, thanks. And I agree with that. Last term of council, we were told that these AODA renovations had to be completed by 2025. So here we are at the end of 2025. So I assume the other halls can just keep on going as long as we do intend on doing it. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the other aspect too, Doug, is that the community as a whole have plenty of accessible facilities now. Thanks to these two completed halls that we've done, as well as the existing halls like Station on the Green or the Senior Community Center. So these halls are available, and the Premore Arena Hall is also considered moderately accessible. The washing maybe needs some work, but the point is that it's all a ground level facility. So we do have facilities across our whole township that do support the AODA objectives. And so by the work that's been done so far, anyone who wants to rent a facility will have, likely have access to a facility because there are many that are available.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And also too, on that note, I mean, there's some churches out there and they're all on one level,
Yes.
they're all AODA accessible as well. And I agree with you, there are lots of spots. Okay, so the Affordable Senior Housing Reserve, we were putting, I forget how much money we were putting into that. Did we, or has council renamed that? Are you using it for something else now?
It is renamed, and because I've had so much in my mind these last couple of days, can't remember what the new name is. Kelly, what's the new name of that? Because I know we renamed it.
Your worship, that reserve was rebranded to be the Affordable Housing Reserve rather than just focusing strictly on seniors because we just weren't finding the opportunities.
Okay, and how much money are we putting into that every year?
Through your worship, that one continues at 100,000 per year.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a look here. I only have 2 pages and I'm on the second page here. In the 2023 budget pamphlet, one of the projects was erecting a roof over the new Lowell sports pad. Now I see in this last budget, Marty there proposed erecting a roof over the sports pad. So we were gonna do that in 2023. Where was the money going to come from for that back in 2023, and why did it not happen?
Kelly and or Terry. Terry's talked to us a couple times about this, but Kelly, do we still have that fund?
Through your worship, I will have Mr. Vachon answer the question about the whys, and I will look up the where.
Okay. A little pickleball going on here.
Yeah.
Steve, in your court now.
Well, everyone. Yeah, your worship, to answer the question with respect to why it was due to budgets. We had, as you said, we had budgeted that amount, and when we went out for costs, it came in much more. COVID obviously didn't help, but I think if I remember it, it actually quadrupled. So council put it on hold, and we just haven't explored it since.
Okay. That's fair enough. The Nottawa Ballpark, the cinder block building there, in the one of the last meetings, it was mentioned that it was unsafe, there's critters in it. And then Councillor Deneen asked it to stay open or stay built rather than be torn down. How many days a year is that being used anyway? Is that open?
I don't know if we have an answer for that. I'm not sure if did you keep track of that, Terry? I'm not sure to answer you specifically. I will tell you that you know, baseball tournaments that are held there, they often ask the key to pick it up. Perhaps those, you know, I mean, those get used. Right?
It's been used with the some of the baseball teams that have had tournaments there. It's an amenity for them. They sell their coffin chips out of that. And yeah, it's until there's something else there, and it hasn't been a liability. It's just going to be able eventually, and there's for critters, there's critters and everything. So yeah, until which time there's plans or funds to replace something there, it still is an amenity at full apartment.
I concur. So, Mr. Vachon, do you have any further comment on that too?
Yeah, thank you, your worship. It definitely got used, I would say 4 or 5 times a week as a storage facility. So that's where the line for the lining, the line painting machines, that kind of stuff. It was being used for that. But as a location to sell items, to my knowledge, I think it was used one weekend where the major tournament that happens, the slow pitch tournament, that happens annually. I think they're the only ones that actually used it as a canteen, I guess you could say.
Thank you. I mean, I have no problem with it staying as it is, but it was just mentioned that it was unsafe and there's critters in there. So if there's critters in there, and that was the term that was used, there's critters in there. So if there's critters in there, there's critter poop in there, and I don't really want to be going in. I don't care if something's bagged or not. I don't care if it's chips or pop. I don't really want to be buying anything that's when a facility it's unsafe or it's you know, it's not clean. Anyway, so that's fine. I agree with keeping it standing for the time being, but I think that a priority should be put on to having that replaced and such. And that brings me to my next point, and pretty much my last point here. It's a McKean sports pad. So we have $100,000 budgeted for that. It was in the 2023 budget. And matter of fact, I think it was even before that, because in my term, I think Phyllis brought it up, and then it's Terry mentioned at one time, it slipped through the cracks. So, and then in 2024, plans were brought to the residents about what was, about putting a sports pad in there, and there was some opposition from the residents. Then Councillor Deneen said that she wanted to see further public consultation on the park improvements before any plans are approved. So my question is, have we done anything in that regard? Have we moved ahead on that? Are we going to consult with the public? What's the status on that? Because right now it's been $100,000 for McKean Park, and for a few years now. I don't necessarily think that a sports pad has to be there, but I think that park could be improved. And just wondering what's going on there.
Well, first of all, $100,000 to do an awful lot of things there. They built the sports pad. you know, some of the spruce trees they need to be trimmed for sure. Some of the heritage signing needs to be replaced. The sand area around the playground equipment has been maintained a couple seasons, and you know, it's like anything else, you could spend a lot of time and effort. You probably spend $100,000 in building the concrete at today's prices. I must say that the consultation that we tried to hold, we tried to get it into the community center. It was not available. We tried to you know, hold it and get the word out as best we could around the community. We took great criticism for, you know, promoting it on the Nottawa What's Up Facebook group, and yet everybody who was attending there in person got their message through that. And so it was a really unusual thing. We did the right thing by promoting the fact that we were going to hold this meeting, and then we got accused of not promoting it properly, which I found very odd. Nevertheless, that meeting also digressed into a discussion about the pending development of the subdivision to the south of the Keene subdivision. And you know, since then, we haven't had any further opportunities or interest, honestly, in having a public consultation about that park, because we've been honestly inundated with letters from the NARA organization about their concerns about the development. And so, you know what, Mr. McKechnie, it's a tough one, because we put money in there to do something right, and we got so, you know, clearly shot down by the residents who attended the consultation. It was very frustrating. And so, you know, what are you gonna do? You try to do something nice to the park, a little park that really does need some attention. In all fairness, it does. And it's about to undergo a bit of a construction project if this development goes through, because there's going to be new pipes going in the ground, et cetera, to connect it to a new wellhead if that all moves ahead way down the road. But the point is that, yeah, there's a lot of things yet to be done there. And to be other point, just to stay on this topic, Mr. McKechnie, is that the parking issue is the biggest problem. You know, we brought forward a clear recommendation to get the vehicles who want to access the park by vehicle, get them off the road. Because parking next to the road, you have these ditches everywhere, makes it really problematic to get out of the car and let children go play in the park. So we wanted to build a parking lot, and we got shot down for that too. So not sure what's gonna happen with that, quite honestly, Mr. Keckman.
Well, I can appreciate the frustration. As a matter of fact, if you recall, you and I went to Dunedin.
Yes.
And with regards to the trail. And that was quite the night, wasn't it? It was. And anyway, but and as a result, Dunedin never got a trail in the park. The trail ended up going, I believe, to Lowell. And but with regards to Nottawa, yes, I believe the residents were opposed to or are opposed to the plans that were as they were presented. But I think it's worthwhile to consult with them again and maybe see about getting that process underway again. Personally, and that's just my own personal opinion, and I don't live right in Nottawa. I was born and raised there, but I don't live right in the village of Nottawa. But my own personal opinion is that that McKean Park, it's a real gem right now. It's grass, it's got lots of trees, it's got a little tobogganing hill for the children, it's got a lovely playground. I personally feel that it would be a shame to put a sports pad on that particular site. I think the sports pad should be more over where the ball diamond is. I looked at New Lowell, nothing against New Lowell, Marty, but that sports pad there is it's more in the sports complex or an industrial complex. That's probably where it belongs, because I drive down that road and it's not really a pretty sight when you go by that sports pad. So it's I would hate to see that happen to the McLean Park, having a big sports pad there and such. Anyway, but I would encourage you, Mr. Mayor, to re-engage with the people of Ottawa, because I understand this budget process, it's changed now, and it's basically your budget. And I know that you're going to be talking about what is it, $75,000 a year for to put towards a pavilion or whatever. And I know that Marty wants the roof over the sports pad.
And I would maybe a bit of priority could be given to Nottawa to go ahead with either a pavilion at the Ball Diamond, or at least get on the road to getting the McKean subdivision park going the way that the resident wanted done. Anyway, that's all my comments. I appreciate your time. And I think I have a question.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, worship. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some people in New Lowell like that pad, especially in the wintertime, people playing hockey on it. There's nothing prettier. Thanks.
Well, fair enough, Marty, but I just don't think it belongs in a little park like the McKean subdivision park. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Mr. McKechnie. Good to see you. All right, we're going to move on in public session. Is there anybody else who'd like to come forward to the microphone and ask a question? I think there's somebody from the back there. Please come right up.
I'm going to be pretty brief. In the budget, you're managing a $39 million budget. And I've noticed over all the things I've witnessed over the last little while, the official plan, the engineering plan, relies very heavily on outside consultants coming in. And I'd love to know how much of that 39 million is actually going to outside consultants. I know there's been a lot of effort to control the wage increases as far as the salaries go. But really, with all the consultants being used, it's just another additional salary, really, because they're part of everyday business. They're just not right on their staff. And I know it's broken out somewhat in individual budgets in total. I'd like to get a slice of the pie that's coming off because it's, I think, significant. What I've seen over the last couple of years, what's gone into different things, and I'd really like to know what percentage outside consultants are in your 39 billion, and how much has changed from year.
I don't disagree, and I'd like to see it too. The sad news is that we do have a lot of consultants, and we have a lot of responsibility to make sure that we have proper qualified consultants to assist us in areas where we don't have in-house expertise. So that's why you pay consulting fees to have somebody who is an expert, particularly in engineering consultant. Engineering consultants, there's so many specialties, right? So it's a challenge. Perhaps while we let the microphone system calm down, Kelly, do you have any comment on our consultants and what we might have? You don't know if you can pull that number out, what our total is for consultants. She's going to smile at me and say, "No, Your Worship."
I'm just waiting to see if they're going to calm down. So throughout the entire 2026 budget, and this includes every type of consulting, whether it's legal fees, consulting fees, engineering fees, we're looking at about 3.5 million, and then another 2.58 for the OP, which is also considered a contracted service.
You hear that? All right. Wow, so I think we've got America.
I can yell. No, it's off. No, red is off.
Is anybody's laptop on?
Interesting. We'll have to get back to you, but I do appreciate what you're saying. Do you have something you want to add, Derek? You were smiling at me. No, you got that because your department hires consultants too. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Are there other members of the public who want to come forward and try the microphone? I'm sure it's an experience not to be forgotten. No? Okay. Okay.
Someone's like. Turn yours down.
Just use these.
1, 2, 3. It's not my microphone. It's weird. I know that. It's not. It's coming from somewhere else. Was your computer, John? Was your computer picking up something?
The sound. The sound is off on my computer. The mic is in order to hear this. Hello?
She's on her. Mute. Mute too.
All right. I'll try to do it like this. I'll be as quiet as I possibly can. If there's no further comments from the public, I'll close the public participation period that's in the room. And I do have quite a group of written public participation comments. I have some foolscap sheets here of so many of them. I'm just going to count it up so that the public are aware that they're going to have to endure hearing me speak about all of these. I have 7 pages of foolscap. Is Dave Aston online? Are you there, Dave? Try
yes, I am.
Okay. That's why. Dave, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can hear you fine too.
And that is much better.
All right.
From what I've been hearing.
So I guess what we've discovered is that the Zoom meeting kicked back on again, audio wise. So let's just confirm that we're still online, and we'll carry on. Good catch, Sasha. I tell you right now, Director of Legislative Services and Technical Audio Consultant. No, we didn't pay any extra consulting fees on that one. Just making sure.
We're good.
We're good. It's working. Okay. All right, guys, let's move on. We do have at this point, we're going to move to our written comments received, and we'll have some answers provided. All right. And at that point, then I'll go to members of council if they have any comments they'd like to ask. Okay. Council, there are many foolscap sheets here. I want just to caution everyone, there are 31 written submissions for this budget consultation through the public participation portal for the budget. There are 31. 30 of them come from Mr. David Witzka. So I'm not going to speak the name any further. I'm just going to refer to them as number 1 and number 2 and number 3, because there's a multiple group of questions here. And so we're going to do our best to provide the answers that Mr. Witzka has requested through the use of the public portal. In fact, I'm going to change my glasses just so I can read this very easily and very clearly. First question, $577,000 was announced by the local MPP as a grant. Can you give us a detailed breakdown of how that money was allocated? I got an answer from the finance department that it is OCIF funding of $577,306 being received in 2026. The funding is for sidewalks in the amount of $250,000 and the remainder to repave concession 6 North in Nottawa. Item number 2, $150,000 budgeted for a Zamboni ice machine in Creemore. How old is the replacement? And does that include idle time during COVID lockdown as an EV replacement? Was there even a bid process or highest bid winning like Stainer Arena? Does price include charging infrastructure, fire suppression infrastructure? What's the township insurer's stance on storing it in the building? And what backup plan is in place when it breaks down like the unit in Stainer? So I just want to point out for the members of the public, multiple questions being asked in an opportunity to ask a question. The answer comes from the Parks and Recreation Department. The replacement unit is a 2012 unit, so it's 14 years old. It was not idle during COVID. There's no procurement yet. Yes, it will include chargers. There are no insurance issues. And Clearview owns a third used unit as a backup for both rinks. Number 3, why are we needing extra beautification laborers? The maintenance of Main Street and Brock Street was abominable, forget it. And why extra staff for tourism? Answer from Parks and Rec, maintenance, cover evenings for lacrosse, new weekend work, trailer washroom cleaning, sick days and vacation relief. Tourism, cover other students who leave or quit early in the summer, which by the way happens. These are students. Item number 4, housing starts stalling, developers getting extensions. Where are the non-existent DC fees for $2.1 million Parks Department garage coming from? DCs will come once houses are built. A project on hold until then. 5, Stainer Pickleball Court. Project now shows $200,000 for 2026. And what will the final price be as it's morphed from $75,000 in 2024 to $100,000 in 2025? Does this include prep work on Huron? It says here you're mixing up the Stainer and Creemore projects in corresponding amounts. $200,000 is for Creemore and was $100,000 in 2025, now cement base. $100,000 for Stainer and for 2026, and $50,000 was spent. I just want to clarify this one too, just for the reference to other emails we received in regards to the pickleball court in Creemore. The pickleball court in Creemore is not exclusively a pickleball court. It was titled that way in the report. So I'll give Mr. Vachon an opportunity just to comment that you know what his intention was and how council received that information about that particular facility in Creemore. Go ahead while I take a breath.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just to clarify, when I made my presentation to council, I did omit the fact to state that the new proposed pickleball court in Creemore can be used over the course of the winter. Again, it will be cement base. It could be used for an outdoor rink or any other winter amenities that the public sees as a need. So I apologize to council and the public. I forgot to mention the winter product that it could be used. It could be used for both.
Absolutely. So we look forward to that if we move this forward. Additionally, to that same question, $50,000 was used in 2025 to site prep the facility of the former Stainer feed mill property. Now, item number 6. Item number 6 is an item that has been removed, and I will not discuss it because it is not part of the 2026 budget, taxpayer funded budget. So it's not this question that was proposed about the EV chargers is not going to be posed here tonight. You can contact the township office or the Parks, Recreation, Culture Department if you're looking for information. Item number 7, what is the total budget for the 3-on-3 hockey tournament, advertising, banners, staff, etc., staff vests? What is the final profit loss on this? And it's not including top up by taxpayers. Total budget is approximately $25,000. 2025, $21,000 was in revenues, $18,000 in expenses, actually showed a profit of $3,000. 0 taxpayer top-ups. Mr. Witzka, number 8. What is the net profit loss on Small Hall Festival without taxpayer subsidy? Revenues, $82,000. Expenses, $75,000. Profit, $7,000. Number 9, if Stainer Pool is losing $100,000 annually right now, how is adding a $20,000 US based security company to monitor the pool justified? Just throwing more money into the wind to be polite. I like the idea of being polite. Parks and Rec to provide extra security to the site. It's pretty clear, isn't it? It's a pool. We have to provide security to the site to protect the residents and the people that are on the site. Number 10, in the 2025 budget, the Parks Department budgeted $120,000 to fully replace the roof on the tourism building. Subsequently dropped to $60,000 to address leaks. That's been ongoing for years, yet leaking issue is still ongoing with zero action. Why? Where'd that a lot of money go for? Before I answer the question, I want to know this. How does Mr. Witzka know that the leaking issue is still ongoing with zero action? And how does he know it's been ongoing for years? That's news to me. The answer was provided, though, that said the roof is not repaired yet. It will be conducting the procurement process in Q1 of 2026. It is a carryover from the 2025 budget, and we will be procuring the contractor to do that work as soon as the weather provides. Item 11, why is there $25,000 pegged for purchasing portable wastewater pump trailer? Will the new employee be licensed by the MOE? And where did the former contractor go? The answer, it was an idea to share with council. It's not proceeding with this project in 2026. It was put forward as an idea. That's what happened at the meeting. Number 12, what is the monthly losses for Clearview Transit? When are fares being raised? And according to your skewed bias report, I say skewed because there's no zero, none of the above. Geez, that looks very similar to the question you had in the public participation. Proceed with the survey. It shows between 36 and 45 daily riders. So optimistically $72 to $90 in fares. How many are actual $2 fares and how many are pass holders? So Public Works was able to provide this information. Transit costs $21,000, HST included a month. Conventional transit operations, as per the Tri-Municipal Collingwood-Wasaga Clearview Service Agreement through 2023 to 2027 is $16,000 HST included per month. Specialized transit operations per Tri-Municipal Collingwood-Wasaga Beach Clearview Service Agreement from 2022 to 27, revenues are approximately $1,200 a month. Not recommending to raise the fares at this time. November, 30% cash fares. November also had 70% pass fares, pass holders. Number 13, will there be public input for future sidewalk replacement improvements? If not, why not? 2 examples come to mind. The horrid sidewalk on Perry Street next to the post office and the absolute disastrous connection from Mowat to the new subdivision. Public Works. No, a replacement list is based on substandard width less than 1.5 meters and yearly inspection of the sidewalk by operations staff. Sidewalk at the Stainer Post Office will be incorporated into a larger project for Mowat Street. New sidewalk is to be constructed as part of the developer-led urbanization of Mowat Street. The path was put in place as a temporary measure. That was put in place as a temporary measure. We had a very good delegation from members of the that community, of members of that neighborhood, and we were able to secure the temporary pathway to help get people off the roadway. And I must say, I've seen people use it, and it's been well received by the neighbors on Mowat Street. Number 14, why are we replacing an 8-year-old grader? What are the hours on this 2018 trade-in? It's part of the capital equipment replacement schedule as of December the 4th. It showed 7,650 hours. It also showed 120,600 kilometers. Number 15, why are we replacing a 2018 backhoe? How many hours? Will we get additional buckets to sit with the 7 already sitting in the Public Works yard? Answer, part of the capital equipment replacement schedule, and as of December the 4th, 4,650 hours, the machine will come with all the required attachments. Are we enjoying this so far? Number 16, Is there a limit to the cost of cleaning out the Zancor stormwater pond? How often will this be done going forward? In 2026, the budget is $500,000. We won't, of course, spend over the budget. That's how it works. Number 17, the 2024 budget had a section showing all mortgage relevant loans pertaining to every project property in the township. Sadly, 2025 did not, and again, nothing in 2026. Why? What's to hide? The finance department replied, this is prepared as part of the direction of council to prepare the budget package and the tax rate bylaw. The information from 2025 is posted on our website on page 84 of the budget package and will be again for 2026 once the budget packet has been completed. I want to acknowledge Mr. McKechnie bringing this very point up. Thank you. Number 18, financing for the overpriced purchase of the house on Brock Street and the former Stainer Care Center sits at estimated $280,000 a year. Where will financing magically come after budget 2026? More reserves, AKA previous collected taxes. I like the word magically right there. The loan payments will be funded from the Affordable Housing Reserve. Number 19. What is the true final cost for the evening hall? The legal costs, the increase in both engineering and architectural costs, cost for demolition of the original contractor build, cost to winterize under emergency tender section. Costs are not all in. Once those are in, a report to council will be done. I'm confident that I'm going to be very interested to see this report myself. So thank you very much for bringing that forward. Number 20. What is the advertising budget with the Creemore Echo? If it's such a vital medium to communicate with taxpayers on township business, why was there zero notice of this budget meeting in the weeks following up to tonight's budget meeting? The advertising budgets have remained from the administration department. The advertising budgets have remained the same for each department. Recreation has the largest budget for advertising programs, $30K and $32,000 for the Small Hall Festival. Other departments are typically under $5K and are dependent upon the requirements of public notices and job advertisements. Further, the November 21st, 2025 article by Trina Burlow was very detailed on the budget. Next page. Number 21. Mr. Witzka, again, on page 17 of the 2026 budget, Klondike Park water line has two items highlighted in pink, totaling $35 million under grants and subsidies. Not quite true, as the mayor stated, we'll be paying $1 million plus interest only on monies borrowed from the county. As for these two line items in the 2025 budget, both were 100% funded by DC Fairs. Care to clarify? And are all township taxpayers paying the interest? First of all, from the finance department, the $35 million is true. This is the amount of the provincial grant that we received on this project. 72% of the cost, up to $35 million. There is no loan from the county. There is only a line of credit set up that may or may not be used. If it is used, then the repayment, including interest, will be funded from the development charges. Number 22, in previous budgets, there was a line item showing $6.25 million financing budget for AODA small hall reno and AODA compliance issues. Where is it located in the budget and what is the amount? From the finance department, there is no budget, as council has put a hold on further AODA renovations. I think you heard earlier that we answered that question as well. Thank you, Mr. McKechnie. Item number 23. This item has been removed. This question will not be asked tonight, as it is specifically related to the collective bargaining agreement with our CUPE union, and not acceptable as a question to be put forward during this public budget session. Item number 24. Also, this item has been removed. Federal government downsizing question. Frankly, it has nothing to do with our budget and or our governance here when he's asking a question about the federal government. Item number 25. Consulting services for $150,000. What is the breakdown per consultant and what is required? We sort of answered that question as well tonight. Reach out to the treasurer for further details with an answer to your questions in regards to the consultants. We don't have any information for you at this time, as also was discussed from Mr. McKechnie when you were here earlier. Creemore Library intends on spending $1 million plus on an addition and AODA compliance issues, fully funded by DC fees. Where are all these magical fees coming from when 5 developers have stalled, stopped moving forward? Is there any fundraising prior to this project going forward, or will be a failed attempt to raise money as per the Stainer Library? Well, we got an answer from the library on this one. This project is in the early stages of planning, but must be included in full so that if any grants become available, we are able to apply for them. When it goes forward, a loan will be taken out for the project, which will then be repaid by development charges. The current library DC reserve has over $1 million in it currently. So that's the library. Next page. How am I doing, Deputy? Under economic development, define $12,000 for miscellaneous expenses. This went to our administration department and the economic development team. So it says here, some of the items we expect to see miscellaneous in 2006 are street banner repairs to equipment, additional service calls, etc. Equipment, usually items related to events, activations, or on-site engagement, new A-frame sign, booth display items. Further, Creemore Streetscaping, the final payment for contributions to the streetscaping project study. And further, sponsorships and grants for community assistant grants forwarded to the economic development. This may also include sponsorships for contributions to community development groups such as Central Ontario Physicians Recruitment Alliance in partnership with the South Georgian Bay Ontario Health Team, the Small Business Enterprise Center, the annual funding support to bring additional services to Clearview. Number 28. As the township is now the new landlord for the former Wilcox Inn building, who is in charge of maintenance and what is the budget? Is there an outside contractor on retainer to deal with the tenant issues? Again, what is the cost to taxpayers? Also from administration. The township is looking after the maintenance and will explore future options in partnerships with contractors to assist. And just to further on that, I can assure you the residents who are there have all been contacted and they're fully aware that the township has a contact person and phone number available. If they have any concerns, they can call it at any time. Number 29. This one's for the fire department. Aerial truck solely funded by DC fees. How? You've borrowed millions from the county in lieu of non-existent fees to finance the Klondike Park water line. So where are you getting the money from? The answer, the aerial truck will not be purchased from until DC funds are available. Don't worry, we're almost there, guys. No, I'm good. I'm good. Mr. Witzka, number 30. So the fire department is replacing an 11-year-old UTV two-seater. Why? How many hours? Will it be a trade-in or auctioned off? Seems to be fine for 15 years doing rescues and grass fires. The answer is the new UTV is to enhance off-road responses to better serve the township. The old UTV will be auctioned off while it still holds value. All right. So for members of council and the public at this time, during this budget discussion, that's the final one that I received from Mr. Witzka. I did receive one also, though, from Mr. Daniel Brooks. So I'll read his question as well. Interesting, it's also about the fire department. And during budget workshop number 2, Fire Chief Davidson requested $13,000 to replace the 2014 pickup truck. Noting a projected $20,000 surplus from the sale of the existing vehicle, several questions arise regarding this proposal. Is it realistic to expect a 2014 Ram 2500 to sell for $20,000? Will the combination of the $20,000 surplus and the requested $13,000 adequately cover the cost of a replacement full-size 2500 pickup truck? Considering the proposed acquisition of the larger UTV in the following slide, will a larger, more capable truck be required to transport it safely? Given that the new heavy-duty 2,500 trucks typically start at approximately $80,000, what additional costs might be anticipated in the future? So it says here from the fire department, based on previous sales, yes, $20,000 is realistic. Second, that the new vehicle is a half-ton enterprise lease, not a heavy-duty 2,500. And third, a larger truck is not required to tow the proposed UTV. And so just for clarity, we did enter into an agreement with the enterprise organization to do leases on our emergency vehicles, pickups, trucks, emergency vehicles. And it has proven successful in keeping our costs down when operating our pickup truck and SUV fleet of vehicles right across the whole township. So that's it, council. If there's any questions on any of those? We all good? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
Just have one question, and I'd like to direct it to the chief. In regards to the new UTV, we did discuss the potential of transferring it to Parks and Rec for their utilization. Can you clarify that?
Through your worship to you, Deputy Mayor, it'll be up to council when the time comes where we are going to replace it in the report. There will be an option for council to donate or auction it off.
Okay, or transfer it to.
Transfer it if there
Okay, that's
is.
fine, as long as it's, hasn't been forgotten.
No.
We're looking out for you, Terry. Thank you.
Okay. So since we are still in the public meeting portion, I'm going to now turn to members of council. Do you have any comments or anything you'd like to discuss in regards to the budget? And do you have any questions of the staff as we move forward here at this time? Paul, do you want to go first?
Is this an appropriate time to ask for a little addition?
Sure. Well, hang on. I was going to say yes, but she's saying no.
Okay.
6.1A is council motions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'll wait till the motion comes.
All right. Is there anything further then for any questions from the staff or for the staff from council? Marty, you have something in?
Thank you, Your Worship. Chris Van der Kroes, our former mayor, asked me to try and get the Brentwood Hall rental back in place. So to unhold the small halls things, what do we have to do to that? I know there's no money in the reserves, but we are putting in 250,000 a year. So I figure in about 4 years, we can do the Brentwood Hall. So can we put the hall renovations on unhold instead of on hold?
I think the logic here would be that, yes, council can with a motion, but I think we need to be cautious about where we get the money from and whether we actually can afford it. And so with the price construction price index changing all the time.
Yep.
An updated quote on what that work would look like would probably be in order. So maybe you could ask for that at a future time. And there would be funds available to do that type of work, to at least get.
So I did ask Kelly, and we are putting 250,000 a year now into that reserve.
Kelly's back. Sorry. Did you catch what we were talking about, Kelly?
Through your worship, I did catch the last of the conversation, and I believe you are talking about the hall renovation reserve.
Yes, hall renovation reserve. Yeah.
There is 250,000 per year going into that reserve.
And it's depleted now, so once we approve this budget, there will be 250,000 or thereabouts in that reserve, correct?
Going in for 2026?
Yes.
I don't know the exact number. I have to wait for the final numbers to come in from the evening hall.
So, yeah, in the summer or sometime, I will move that we put that on hold on the Brentwood renovation.
Fair enough.
Ready for it.
Right. And the point being is that that's fair. The point is that then we would want to get good information before we enter into any type of RFP.
Oh, yeah, but I think we learned a lot with the evening hall and know what
sure.
contractors not to use. And I will do that in the future. I didn't want to do it tonight, but he did want me to mention that, yeah, he wants to get this put on hold. And the second question I have, I know at the last budget meeting, we were talking about putting some money in the reserve to improve the parks, one being the New Lowell, the roof in New Lowell, and I don't see that in the budget. Is it in the budget? No. We were gonna have a report brought back from staff, I thought, about doing that.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Through your worship to Councillor Beelan, I believe we were talking about an additional 75,000 to the Parks Reserve, the Park Equipment Reserve.
Yes.
That was not finalized by council to my knowledge.
So I would like to move that we add 75,000 to the Parks Reserve.
Hang on. We'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
If you're going to make any ads, we're still in the public meeting portion.
Okay, sorry. I
Hold
thought
that.
we were doing
Just
this.
like the deputy mayor, just hold that for a minute. Right, that's okay. Is there any other questions though for the
I must have
budget?
fell asleep.
That's okay. You guys are great. I really appreciate you guys. All right. Nothing further on the public meeting? All right. So at this time, this concludes the public meeting with respect to the staff proposed 2026 Clearview Township corporate budget. And we want to thank all those that provided comments and their interest in this matter. And these comments will be considered by the mayor, that would be me, prior to presenting the 2026 budget on January the 8th of 2026. And that closes the public meeting at this time. So we're going to move to our next item on our agenda, which is 6.1. Is that correct? Or 6.1A, Councilmember motions? Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. We're at the big point. At this point, then the floor will be open. Council members will be given the opportunity to make any last minute recommendations for the 2026 budget. And then, as you know, as per the budget timeline, the budget powers will be provided to the head of council under section 284-16 of the Municipal Act. And the mayor will present the proposed 2026 budget on January the 8th. And then from that date, council has 30 days to pass any resolutions to amend the budget. Okay? All right. Who's up? Paul, you want to go first? Or Marty? We're going to race? Marty, take it.
You'll get the last word.
You
I'd like
won't-
to
you won't
move
get the
that we
last
add.
word, I can guarantee it, because I've got stuff. Go ahead, Marty.
Are you done? I'd like to move that we add 75,000 to the parks budget for park improvements and repairs, whatever you want to call it. What did you call it before, Kelly? You had a name for it.
Through your worship, we have a Parks Equipment Replacement Reserve.
Correct. And I'd like to earmark some of that once we get enough for the new Lowell roof on the ice pad.
All right. Is there a seconder on this motion? Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. Do you want to speak further to it then?
No, we talked a whole bunch about it last budget meeting. I think everybody understood it and seen the need for it. For example, the repairs at the Nottawa Park. There's other things that need repairing or improving sometimes, and I think that's what we need the money in there for.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Terry, do you have any comment?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. And just to remind council that part of our 2026 budget, we do have a parks needs study that's on a docket and to be covered by the DCs, very similar with the other studies that are being done as part of DCs. We do have a parks plan coming, so that extra amount that's in there will be identified in that plan.
All right. Members of council, any further questions to Mr. Beelan or any staff? Yes, go ahead.
Where's the money coming from?
Good question. Mr. Beelan, have you got a recommendation?
Yeah, I was just going to add it to taxation.
Okay. Kelly, can you comment on that? Adding to taxation, you're comfortable? Oh, sorry. We'll wait for a second.
Through your worship, an increase of 75,000 to the recreation budget would put us at a 2.26% increase.
Okay. Is $75,000 enough?
I believe so. That's about 5-8 years. You'd add the roof in New Lowell if we don't use it for other things first.
Terry, does that seem like enough money? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, Your Worship. I mean, it's hard to forecast what the cost would be 8 years from now, but it's definitely a good start to get there.
Okay. Members of council, anything further? All right. Yes, Mr. Walker.
Your worship, I really think that at this point in time, with the economy the way it is, that there is no need to add any more increases to this budget.
It's at 2.06. I think staff have been responsible to get it to that point. And I don't feel there's a need to increase it anymore for this year. And that we should leave it as is and move forward with this year and worry about maintenance. Stuff's already covered under maintenance, and to start putting money aside for something that to me is a need, is a want, not a need. We want a roof, yes, but is it really necessary? There are a lot of outdoor rinks that don't have roofs and they still function. So I don't believe we need to increase our budget at all, that we need to keep it at the 2.06 and carry on with tonight's meeting. All right, thank you very much. Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Van Stavern.
Thank you. In regards to Councillor Walker's comments and Mr. Balin's, I would almost make a recommendation, if that's the will of the council, that we wait and see what the Parks and Rent needs come through, and next year increase it to 100,000 or more. If they identify it, let them identify it first and be prepared to put more money into it and shorten up the potential build on it.
I can live with that. I'll withdraw my motion.
All right. Phyllis, nothing?
It's probably irrelevant at this point, but there is we've made our recommendations, what we'd like to see in our parks to Terry. And we've done it numerous times. So I'm comfortable with waiting as well.
Okay. Thank you, Marty. Nothing further? All right. I'm looking for other recommendations or questions they want to put on the agenda. Go ahead, Paul.
I would, after the frustration of our sound system tonight, and we've had this happen before. We've had also a complaint a few meetings ago. I would like to ask for some money to improve the sound system, in particular in that back area. If we can get a speaker back there, we get a longer microphone for the front and upgrade or bring it up so that our clerk does not have the frustration that necessary. And I think, I don't know what money to ask for, whether it be 3,000 or 4,000, just to have just for a general item. But we got to do a better job of what's happened here. So that's one item I'd like to see money for. And the other thing I'd like is a few dollars to get some new furniture for our foyer out here. If anybody's looked at the table where the hand sanitizer is, the table's ruined and our furniture is old. I'd like people to consider a couple $1,000 or $3,000 to make it look presentable or bring us up to the 21st century.
All right, I appreciate both those. Can I ask you to separate those? So we'll have one motion for each.
Be more than happy to.
I would think that.
How much you think we should ask for?
I think $2,500 would probably be enough to get the speaker work done. And you know, we can work within that. It'll just add to the clerk's department budget, which looks after this right now. Is that right, clerk? You look after this through your budget, or is it through administration directly?
It's through administration, but I am the director for purchasing with IT. And just to confirm, the issues tonight were coming through Zoom. But I do agree, we could use some additional speakers in the back for people within the audience to have better.
Yeah, we have a problem. We had an individual who had to move up a couple meetings ago. I can't speak for tonight, but I think we need a better sound system, and that microphone there, we need a different mic a longer microphone. So anyways, that's
between 2 and 4. I'm thinking $2,500.
That's fine. If you're agreeable to that, I'll make that the first motion then.
Is there a seconder? Phyllis Deneen, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Yes, you want to say something? Please do.
Where does the deputy mayor propose the money to come from? With this motion, you have to tell us where you want the money from.
John, I'm looking at John, but I may be looking at our magician over there.
Tax stabilization?
To your worship, to Councillor Deneen, actually adding it to the administration budget because it's such a small amount doesn't affect the tax increase. So we're still at 2.06.
All right. That makes sense. You got that? Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Yes, thank you, Worship. So moved by Deputy Mayor Van Staveren, seconded by Councillor Deneen. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby direct staff to add $2,500 to the 2026 budget to add additional speakers to the council chambers and to add additional microphones or equipment.
All right. Any questions on this? Yes, no, no, yes, no? I am prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? Are there opposed? Oh, you will support that. You support. That's right. All right. Thank you, Councillor Walker. I appreciate that. Can I consider that unanimous then? Did I see that? Thank you. Oh, as an opposed? Thank you. We did not get a unanimous, but we did carry it. Thank you. All right. Are there others? Oh, yes, you mentioned something about furniture. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, the second ask is to replace, I'll call it a replacement of the furniture in the lobby here. It's 20 odd years old now, that furniture. How old?
23. Anyway.
23 years old. But the table where if anybody has looked where the hand sanitizer is, the table is absolutely ruined. And for a place like this, we want to, offer a respectable sitting area. So I'd ask it, we modernize it. And anyway, so I'm not a furniture person. I would think maybe Councillor Deneen thinks $5,000. I'll support her on that. I'd make a motion to that effect.
All right. Can I just look to the admin? Is that approximately what you think $5,000 would do that? It should? Yeah. Okay. Then we'll go with the 5. Is there a seconder on the motion? Is there a seconder on the motion? Mr. Broderick. Thank you very much, Mr. Broderick.
And now, as far as taxing, where it's going to come from, I'm going to turn my head. John, you're.
Oh, come on, you guys.
I just want to ask the question through your worship, is there possibly like a maintenance budget already that this could come out of?
Yeah, let's ask that. That's a good question. To the CAO and the treasurer, is there a maintenance budget for any of these type of items that we have here? I understand exactly where the deputy mayor is going on this because it's a Berber fabric covering of a couch, which is really comfortable and has that sort of vintage 1980 look to it. But I'm more concerned about the fact that it simply is really problematic to clean it, right? And so it does need to be replaced with something more.
You're not going to get a disagreement about the.
Thank you.
It's not in great shape, the furniture. Since that the 2,500's really hurt the administration budget there this year that you've asked for the speakers, just kidding. This would actually increase the budget to 2.08. That $5,000.
So you're saying then there is no like regular maintenance budget for the building, like it can't just come under regular building maintenance?
It's your worship, Councillor MacArthur. We do have a regular maintenance, but it's based on our cleaning contracts and things like that. The other option is to fund it from the administration building replacement reserve. We do fund any sort of major repairs and replacements from that reserve rather than just an operating maintenance.
It means your budget would stay at 2.06.
And is that a healthy reserve or what's that reserve at then, Kelly, please?
Through your worship to Councillor MacArthur, healthy, no, if it was being used to replace the building, which is sort of the intent. Healthy as far as we have enough money if the furnace goes or something to that effect. Yes, we do have enough money in there.
If there's nothing further, council, you have any last minutes questions on this? Yes, Mr. Walker.
Location where the money's coming from. Are we going to that reserve then?
Through your worship, if you would like to keep your increase to 2.06, then that would be the one I would suggest. Yes.
I'm okay with the reserve.
We could pull that money out of reserves. All right. Members of council, we've got a motion. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? Wow, that carries. Furniture, love it. All right. Does anybody else get any items that they'd like to bring forward at this time? Mr. MacArthur, we talked briefly. You had nothing on your mind? Okay. Mr. Beelan, do you got anything else? Mr. Walker? Mr. Dean? Thank you. Mr. Broderick? No? Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to bring forward one right now, and I might as well do it now instead of wait for it to do it as a strong mayor power issue. I don't think it's important as a strong mayor. I think it's more important to talk about it right here. Council, we've had a long discussion, and we have a report on our agenda later on tonight in regards to the trailers. We had a brief talk about it already tonight, but I believe that we should be able to spend a little bit of money, work with the Public Works Department and the Recreation Department, and create a pipe so that sewer servicing and water servicing can be made available to the trailer that we locate at the Village Green in Creemore. And I say that because when we have these surge problems, as in large events, we need to be able to empty the machine and refill the water tanks sort of on demand rather than waiting for the contractor to come and pick it up or come and do the work. And so the Village Green facility, I know we want to continue to work with the foundation. We want to make sure that the foundation, continues to be a great partner in our community, which I believe they really are. And I think that we can work with them towards creating a solution in the future, but we're not at that point yet to be able to spend the multi-dollars to build a permanent washing facility. And I also don't believe we're not going to be able to resolve the issue with the village, the station on the green volunteers who maintain that facility and operate it for their renters. And I think that, we can just continue to augment the problem or, fix the problem by having this washroom facility installed down there for the whole summer season and have it connected to sewer and water. By doing so, we'll be able to, dispose of the waste into our wastewater treatment plant, which is where it needs to go, and be able to refill the tanks with a water line that can refill the water tank on board. Staff person is still going to need to go there regularly to do any type of cleanup, whether it be garbage removal or, cleaning the facility, checking on, make sure all the operations are working, et cetera, et cetera. So we're still going to have that service as part of operating it for this next season. But I would suggest to council that we need to get this pipe put in the ground that then can be, when the trailer is not there, it could be literally sealed right up such that a vehicle could drive right over it. If you think of any campgrounds, if you've ever been a camper and taken a camper to a clean out station, a concrete clean out station where you can hook up your pipe, you pull the pipe, you release the black water into the holding tank, you close it up, you hose it off and you drive away. These type of facilities, we could build this so that it suits exactly what this trailer needs. And I think it'll help us extend the usability of that through the summer months. We're not in a position right now to build a permanent washroom facility there. We do have a demand to have these washroom facilities made available. There's lots of studies that show that, not just the senior study from the county, but lots of opportunities across Ontario where the public need public washrooms, particularly in a tourism area. And we are a tourism area for sure. We have a lot of people visit us because of tourism. There's a lot of great events happen. So I think this is a significant opportunity for the two departments to work together, Public Works and Rec. And I think we could put some money on this. And I'd like to see it, to answer your question, Councillor Deneen, I'd like to see it come straight out of taxation because this is going to be a service that everybody will have opportunity to use because we do need washrooms. All of us do. And so I'd like to see $4,000 be used to support a connection for a sewer pipe and a water pipe and to have it basically be placed into the Recreation Department reserve and have the Recreation Department manage that and work the costs with the Public Works Department. So that's where I'd like to go. I know it's unusual to have the mayor make these type of recommendations here, but I don't want to do it in a strong mayor situation. So now that I've made my pitch, I'm more than happy to release the chair and either make the motion or let somebody else make it. So do you want to say something, or do you want to take the chair? Mr. Broderick's going to make the motion. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Mr. Beelan, thank you for making the seconder. Thank you, guys. That way I don't have to release the chair. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you. I'll throw this through yourself to Dan and to Terry. I think it's a fantastic idea because it just, like you say, dump and flush and everything else. For those who were at the tree lighting, we had a problem with the one on Friday because somebody unplugged it and things froze, and it just goes on. And it would alleviate one of our potential servicing problems. Is there any possibility or any interest in doing the same thing for one at the gazebo park in Stainer? And I don't know, Dan, I'll just throw that to you. Is there a hookup, a link nearby that we can hook into, or where's our closest sewage? Sewage is the big one. Where's our closest sewage line?
Dan, we haven't even talked about that one. That's a good one.
Well, the other thing, Dan, I'll just mention to you that sort of like this past weekend, we used the trailer and we used the tourism building. Maybe we should think about putting that trailer closer to the tourism building where we definitely have a sewer hookup and a water hookup already. Just an idea.
Yeah, thank your worship. Just if you bear with me, I'm just pulling up our GIS mapping and I can tell you where our closest one would be. So there would be potentially two options. One would be at the corner of Huron Street and John Street. So essentially right in front of the tourism building, there's a sanitary sewer there. And then the next option would be just at the east end of our facility here. There's a sewer line that runs from across Gideon and goes down through the sewer easements, just right at the east edge of our property here. Those are the two closest sanitary sewer connection possibilities.
So I think just speaking to that, Dan, then the most convenient without ripping any more asphalt than we would need to, if we were to hook towards the our tourism building, it wouldn't take much if we get the slope to potentially we'd have to survey it possibly to see what slope we've got, but we might be able to get a gravity fall to it. Or is that a force main on Huron Street?
Through your worship, so there's no sewer main on Huron Street at all.
It's on John Street.
Right, at John and Huron.
Okay.
There is a lateral that goes into the tourism building right now to the, I guess it'd be the west side of the building.
So could we hook into there?
Possibility. I would have to check the size
Okay.
and all that. So it would have to be some investigation done on that.
Okay, well, I'll throw it. If there's not an appetite, I'll withdraw that discussion. But we'll use potentially the Creemore expansion as an example and see how it works.
Okay, that's fair. That's another part that I agree. So, all right.
I was just thinking when we build the tennis courts over there, they're going to be utilizing those washrooms as well. So maybe it could be in conjunction with that, the move and the permanent placement of it. That might just be a thought.
Thank your worship. We should be pumping out a lot less, right? And how much did we spend on pumping out last year? Because that's going to maybe help pay for this. So.
Yeah, that's true. We did pay quite a bit to pump it out. Terry, off the top of your head there, I think $200 per or something?
No, 150 per. 150 per dump.
150, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I have it broken down per trailer. at the moment. I could figure that out over time, but it's just one big bulk amount. And yeah, we probably spent close to, God, it's got to be at least $10,000, I would assume, over the course of the summer. For all 3 locations combined, including weekends, quite a bit. That it was budgeted as part of the business case that was put forward for those trailers.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's 150 per. Location, just if I can add, your worship, to that conversation about location, we have to really carefully think of the location, where to put that trailer next to the tourism building, because on the north side, where the loading docks are and the front entrance and stuff, I don't think there's any space there to put the trailer. It would probably have to go between the old railway line and the building, along that road there. That would probably be the only location, or behind. And I think the beauty of that trailer is that where we have it now, it's very visible. When we start tucking it and hiding it next to buildings, it may not be as visible. The public may not see it as much as do it now. It's getting used where it is now because it's quite visible, especially with the signs that we got put on. So just, I want to caution council that location is very important. Councillor, the name brings up a good point. The tennis folks will use it. So if it was kind of halfway in between both, it'd be kind of cool. But I personally feel that keeping it where it is very good, because it was used quite frequently. Of course, the tourism building is always open to the public over the course of the summer, as well as additional washrooms.
If I can just ask council too, I mean, we have not had the surge problem with the one at the Stainer Park. We haven't had a surge problem there. We've certainly had it at the Creemore Village Green. And surge, but what I mean is multiple users, and it's just out of service because it's literally full. So this is why I'm thinking we need to address this. The sewer and water lines are right there. Some engineering work, purchasing a check valve of some type to protect both the water and the sewer check valves, to make sure that they're protected, and also to build the infrastructure below grade so that we can have it covered with a steel plate of some type or whatever when we're not using it, to keep traffic from damaging it, that type of thing. So I think that we haven't had the demand at the one in Stainer yet. So I think, to Marty's point, the savings would be there if we hooked it up, right? But in the end, these are really temporary structures anyway. Ideally, we need to build permanent washroom facilities down the road. And that's what I'm hoping in Creemore is going to happen one day. And I can see us do something here too. I mean, if there's ever any money from the province and the feds, but we'll see. Do you want to continue on, Marty? Do you have anything further? Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Your Worship. That was one of my first things, was Stainer was location. And I think it's important that it's visible, not tucked in at the back end, which I think a lot of people especially in the summertime, we question about the availability of getting to that, especially for mobility people when they're at the park. To questions to Terry with regards to these washrooms, the water and the sewer, are they available? Are they, even when they're hooked up to a system, do they still have to be manually operated to fill the tanks, or can we alter those tanks so that it's a float device like the toilets and stuff in your home, where there's a valve that allows it to automatically fill? And the sewage, can it be left open? Is that a possibility that that nobody other than cleaning has to do any other maintenance to that system?
Through your worship, anything's possible, I would assume. I would recommend that we probably, it will require labor to open if it's filling up the water. We can look into it, but as far as I know, the way the holding tanks are, somebody manually has to put water in it. And from the sewer perspective, the only way, we'd have to bypass the holding tank. So we would have to rip open the trailer, put a pipe from the toilets, which goes into the holding tank, bypass the holding tank to go directly into the sewer. That would be the only way to do that. I don't know if it's possible or not, but it's something that could be explored. But at the moment, the quick fix would be somebody would have to open the valve, like let the tank fill up. If it's the one in Creemore, it could be done daily. It could just open up that quick valve, empty it out, and let it fill up again. Shouldn't be a problem, but it does have to be manually We can explore automatic features, but we would have to retrofit those trailers to be able to accommodate that.
Thank you. Good question. As I said in my earlier comments, I mean, we still have to have staff attend anyway to do any cleaning. And so when they're there, they can operate the valves, do the cleaning, close the valves, fill up the water tank, and away we go. So.
But so we're still gonna run into that possible problem then when we have a large event going there, that holding tanks will be full. Unless we have a staff member that's gonna be there that whole time to be able to operate that holding tank, because I can see, 2,000 or 3,000, that tank's not going to last very long until it has to be emptied. So I think there's an avenue there that we'll have to certainly look at.
I would suggest that the staff would be intuitive on the fact that it's a big event and they're going to have to be there more often. I mean, I think that they know that already. They've certainly had an experience of it this year. You're going to see on the report if we ever get to it this year. So thank you. Is there anything further? All right. Can I just, I said 4,000 between Terry and Dan. Does that seem reasonable? Dan?
I think it's very reasonable, Your Worship. Our staff are very qualified that we'd be able to dig down to the pipe and put the required saddle on and fittings and whatnot. So it would be just a material cost for piping and backflow valves and things to that nature. So I think that's very reasonable.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And you're of course agreeable that we'll put it in the recreation department budget and you and Terry can arm wrestle over that. Okay.
I'll send them the bill.
Done. Members of the council, anything further? All right, Madam Clerk, do you want to read that?
Thank you, Worship. So it's moved by Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Beelan. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby directs staff to add $4,000 to the 2026 Parks and Recreation budget to facilitate sewer and water hookups to the portable washroom trailer located at the Village Green in Creemore to be funded through taxation.
All right, and the last question, I'll go to Ms. Treasurer. What's the number now?
Your Worship, that puts you at 2.09%.
Right, thank you very much. Members of council, anything further? Seeing none, I'm going to call the motion. All in favor? Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. I have nothing further at this time. Is there anybody else? Thank you very much, council. At this time, just to be clear, we will be presenting the budget for 2026 on January the 8th, 2026. And then from that date, council will have 30 days to pass any resolutions to amend the budget. And if no amendments are received, the budget will be deemed adopted on February the 7th, regardless of a council meeting or not. So understood? Thank you, council. Okay, we're going to move to item number 7, unless anybody wants to request a bio break. It is 8:30. Want to carry on? We're going to carry on, folks. Approval of our council meeting minutes. Be it resolved that council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the November 17, 2025, November 18, 2025, November 22nd, 2025, November 24, 2025, and November 26, 2025 council meetings as presented. Mr. Walker, Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Any questions on those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Correspondence items. Council, we've got quite a few, but we will start with the closed session items. We did have 2 quick closed session items that I can read. I'll look for a mover and seconder. So this is item 8.1. Recommendation be it resolved, Council of the Township of Clearview hereby direct staff to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the potential municipal facility partnership. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions? All in favor? That carries unanimous. The next one is the wastewater issue. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby direct staff to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the wastewater infrastructure. Janine and Mr. Beelan this time. Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor? That carries unanimous as well. Thank you. Okay, so there's a few items on here. Real quick, look at them. The correspondence was quite good. The budget for the county of Simcoe went through. We do have a very nice letter from the Township of Springwater. They're opposed to Clearview Township's agricultural lands being used for national defense over the horizon radar site. Appreciate their support. Thank you, Springwater Township. Municipal Affairs and Housing, Bill 17 zoning, the interim control bylaws have been presented through the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. County's got a release about the building up our community blueprint for affordable housing. There's a brochure in my office, by the way, if any member of council would like to read up on that. The NVCA media release, there's an NVCA unanimously approves the budget. So thank you for that. Paul, did you want to mention anything on that right now? Go ahead.
I'll speak a bit more in my reports, but it's a 2.8% increase. Our staff's done a phenomenal job at cutting and chopping and not replacing new hires as quickly as we would have otherwise. And we've kept it at 2.8%, and the staff is very content with that. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. County also about the Tiffin Street modular building. I don't know if you've seen any of the media coverage of that, council, but the trailers arrived from Alberta. These came from Alberta, and they've been installed and are being set up so they can provide some relief for housing there on Tiffin Street at the former paramedic station. Enbridge Gas got a notice of application about their earnings and disposition of deferral and varied accounts balances. And then the county advisory about the museum, step back in time for the Simcoe County's museums, Victorian Christmas. I must say the museum always does a great job at Christmas. Christmas time, they do a great job there, the museum staff, and the visitors really enjoy that. It's a great spot. Any questions on any of those items? All right, we're going to move to our council reports. We're going to start with Mr. Broderick. You're up first. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. November 25th, attended the flag raising commemorating the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The 26th, attended the Clearview Township Public Planning Session. November 28th, attended the Sunnydale Hall Board meeting. And December 3rd, attended via video conference the meeting with the mayor and staff and representatives of the GNE and promoters of snowcross events in Ontario regarding a possible snowcross event at the GNE. And for most of the rest of the week, I have been MIA.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, not too much. Just like to thank everybody for coming out on November 30th for the grand reopening of Evening Hall. We had a great crowd, and it was pretty nice to see the stage filled up with volunteers, past and present, and a group photo there. So thanks to the whole community, a terrific event. And I was unfortunate I couldn't make any of the tree lighting ceremonies due to other commitments, but I take it we had great crowds. And then December 6th, of course, Creemore Parade was, I think, bigger and longer than ever, and was proud to be there with my ponies to pull the brand new Santa Claus float that was rolled out this year. So thanks everybody for coming to the parade and all the volunteers that ran it.
That was a great looking float, by the way. It really was. It looked spectacular. Good job. I mean, I know there was a lot of volunteers effort put into make that happen. So good job. And the horses look great too. Attaboy.
What about the driver?
The driver looked terrific as always.
Couldn't see him. He couldn't see
Big
us.
smile and wave. He couldn't have been prouder.
He didn't know it was us though, you know.
Yeah, I know.
I too.
Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, so November 25th, we did the flag raising. It was mentioned over at the hub for the Day of Elimination of Violence. Later that evening, for those who attended in Creemore, we had the Collingwood General and Marine Hospital vision statement at Station on the Green, and they were looking for community input. It was nice to see people out there, and we got to put our dots on the pictures, what we thought represented what we wanted in the hospital for the future. So it's going to be an ongoing saga. So everybody keep your eyes open. It's our hospital. So please keep involved. We did the Santa Claus parade in Singhampton on the Saturday night, ended up at the fire hall. And as usual, It was quite a little community event. The Sunday we did the grand opening of the evening hall, and it was already mentioned about the support there. December 5th, we doubled up, the mayor and myself doubled up on the tree lighting for both Stainer and Creemore. And so it was nice to see a different group. The mayor, I'm sure, is going to talk about the crazy hat competition he judged in Creemore, and a couple of young men who won it were very impressive. So anyways, it was a nice event all in all. The Santa Claus Parade, we doubled up there again with the parade in Stainer and Creemore, and both parades were fantastic. Each had different things. I mean, we handed out, worship, how many pounds of chocolate, and we gave them to, it was meant for kids, but there was some big kids who got them too. So that was nice to see. This morning, His Worship and myself attended a meeting in Collingwood hosted by Mr. Todd McCarthy, the Minister of the Environment, in regards to the consolidation efforts of the conservation authorities of across Ontario. Right now, there's 34 conservation authority. They're getting community feedback. So we were in there commenting as politicians, as staff members and stuff. And I just remind everybody, if they wish to comment on that, they have until December 22nd. There's an open forum that is available to all the public to write on what their thoughts were. And today was one of those examples. It was a well-received meeting, I would have to say. So the mayor may talk a bit more about that. And the only thing to add is tomorrow night we have the Small Hall Appreciation in Creemore. So anyways, just to all the volunteers, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you for that. It was a busy time, that's for sure. Councillor Deneen.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just want to say thanks to everyone for making our 4 Clearview parades resounding successes. Singhampton, 4. We had 4 of them. I made it to 3 of them. Yeah, it was, and they were all bigger and longer than ever. And in Ottawa, the Ottawa Hall's been busy. We had an artisan Christmas market on Saturday, and the library on Sunday, and the streets were lined with cars up and down. Just it was a resounding success as well. So I also went to the CGMA Vision meeting, and it was quite informative. And yeah, that's about it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. I saw you waving on the tractor last night. Good job. Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. November 25th, I was at the hospital info at the Station of the Green. I thought it was really good. There's a lot of good ideas presented there. I was also at the flag raising for the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. November 26th, I was at the planning meeting. November 29th at the Singhampton Parade, and that was a lot of fun. November 30th, I thought the grand opening for the evening hall was fantastic. And December 2nd, Brentwood Hall Board had a meeting. And December 3rd, the Climate Action Committee had a meeting. And that's it.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you're feeling better too. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Your Worship. 25th again at the flag raising, as has been mentioned already. 26th the planning. And then I just want to say thank you to the organizers of the Stainer Parade. I was a sit down watch it go by, and it was a great parade, and some big kids didn't get some chocolate either from Mr. Deputy Mayor.
I do believe I threw some at you.
Yeah, but
I gave some to your wife too.
You missed my wife. You wouldn't give her.
I gave your wife wine.
Anyways, the 9th, we have accessibility and planning coming up this week as well. Again, to the parade organizers, great job. Well done. I think that's one of the longest in Stainer that we've had for quite a while. So that's great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, just to compliment all the parades, starting in Singhampton, it was a terrific event to be joined, of course, by folks from Grey Highlands. Mayor McQueen was there, and the deputy mayor and a couple of councillors, and so it was really nice to be there and share the pride of Singhampton with our neighboring municipality, as it's pretty special. That community gets to do that type of celebration with their neighbors. So it was a great event, and congratulations to the fine men and women of the Clearview Fire Department Station 5. They just did a great job there organizing that event. The other events, of course, the tree lighting. It was scheduled in Stayner for Thursday night, but boy, did we ever get a good storm on Thursday. Closed roads in our township and everything. It was quite a time Thursday, but we did host it on Friday in the afternoon, late afternoon, and it was a great little event. Thank you again to the community members who come out, as well as the community volunteers who come out, and also a special shout out to Bakery by the Bay, who are coming up on their 5th anniversary. They were there and provided some amazing cookies, and the children enjoyed them, and so did myself. So it was a really nice, and I think you did too, Paul. Paul liked them too. They were great. So it was a really great event. Down in Creemore, I must give great compliments to the village, the foundation who operate the village green. They secured a Christmas tree that's now set up right in the middle of their little plaza, right in front of the stage. And it was spectacular. It was a beautiful tree and well set up and well engineered with some heavy blocks to hold it there. And Mr. MacArthur, I think it might have been Drysdale's. Was it Drysdale? I think Drysdale's brought it over, didn't they? Yeah, you would know. Yeah, it was great. Really a nice tree. Did a great job. The crazy hat contest was another big success. It's only the 3rd year in a row we've done it. And Jeremy down there asked if I would help him out. So I went down there with Paul and others, and we did our best to keep people entertained while we had 2 dignified members of the BIA who are the people who did the judging. I did not. And I made it clear that I cannot be bribed, but the BIA judges could be. But I don't think there was any bribes offered to them. You have something to say there?
I just wanted to say, they also served hot dogs and hot chocolate, and one of the guys who served me is sitting at the back of the room, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
know he doesn't want to claim any to the hot dogs, but anyways.
I must say the hot chocolate was fantastic because it came from Miller's Dairy.
yeah, that's-
Chocolate milk made into hot chocolate. I got to tell you, take that one. That's a really good one. Anyway, so listen, that was really a lot of fun, but there's been an awful lot of work go on too. As Paul mentioned today, we went to a very interesting meeting with Mr. MacArthur, or Minister MacArthur. He was there virtually, of course, just to give us a thing. And then we had a workshop session with members from all over the region. So it was quite interesting I sat with a mayor who's from up in the Thunder Bay area, a little community of 950 people. And he had come down because he was keenly interested in how it's going to impact their community up there near Thunder Bay. So it was a good session. I'm really glad I attended it. And it was a little bit enlightening as to what the plans are for the province about these, these changes that are coming to the conservation authorities. Anyway, that's all. I'm going to leave it at that. It's been a long night. There's still a lot to do here. This township's got a lot of work to do here in December, and we're going to be on it. That's for sure. So that's all I have for now, and I want to thank everybody for representing the township when you are out there. Appreciate all the efforts you do as council to do that as well. Okay, council, I'm prepared to move on in the agenda. If there's nothing further from the reports. Let's move to our planning and building department. We've got a comprehensive zoning bylaw project update. This is in regards to the draft environmental protection zones. Derek, I think you're going to take the lead on this for questions. How about I read this and then we'll get a mover and seconder and then we can move along. Okay, it says, recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township Clearview hereby receive report PB 046-2025. It's the comprehensive zoning bylaw project update, draft environmental protection zones dated December the 8th, 2025. Item 1, Council consider the report in the development of the draft Township of Clearview comprehensive zoning bylaw. And item 2, the Council directs staff to pursue an official plan amendment to the Township of Clearview Official Plan 2024 to address implementation challenges directly related to the public concern received regarding the draft environmental protection zones EP1, EP2, EP3, as outlined in the draft Township of Clearview zoning bylaw. Excuse me. And item 3, the council directs staff to coordinate a public meeting for the purpose of providing the public an opportunity to make representations in respect to the proposed revisions to the draft comprehensive zoning bylaw and the official plan amendment. Okay, can I get a mover and seconder on the floor for this one, please? Deneen, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. Derek, you're looking sharp tonight.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Excellent.
So I won't steal too much of, so Dave Aston from MHPC Planning's on the call, so I won't steal too much of his thunder. As was pointed out in the draft motion, this is just to provide council and the public with an update of the township's draft comprehensive zoning bylaw project, specifically respect to our environmental protection zones. So I will turn it over to Dave. He'll provide a bit of additional context, and then both of us are available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Derek. And Dave, thank you for being very patient with us tonight. I appreciate you being there to assist us with some of those audio questions about Zoom. So let's cross our fingers and hope that you're hearing me and I'm hearing you. Go ahead, sir.
Great. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Are we good? We're good. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to just give a quick update this evening. Thanks, Derek, for the intro. We've been working hard with Derek and his team on looking at the comments that we've received, particularly those related to the environmental protection zones that we heard through the working session and the open house. We have come to see that we need to make some changes to the official plan and how the official plan gives direction to how we zone properties relative to how those two documents work together. So we've started looking at that. Ultimately, what needs to be protected are features that are identified for protection under provincial policy. So those are a priority for protection. And then we're looking at other various layers of mapping that the official plan speaks to protection. And then how do we implement protection through the zoning bylaw? So there may be different ways. One may be a straight environmental zone, and another may be the use of zoning overlays to make sure that there's the identification of a feature, but not necessarily the outright prohibition of any use associated with the lands because of that feature. So that's something that we're looking at now. We've had the opportunity to meet with the Conservation Authority and receive additional information from them. And what we're seeing very early on in some of the information and review in our approach is that a lot of the concerns that were raised at the open house insofar as prohibitions or impacts onto uses of properties may be addressed with how we look at zoning versus an overlay. So we think that when we come back to the public in 2026, February, March 2026, that we'll have a better look at how properties will be impacted. And I think what we're going to find is that the impact is going to be minimized. However, we're still going to be protecting the provincial natural features that need to be protected, and then identifying and flagging or overlaying other natural areas that need to be considered for protection or that may require further study for additional development on lands to be used. So that's where we're at with the Greenlands. We are also working through responding to all of the other non-EP comments from the public, and then looking at the alternatives that we talked about at the working session at council. Say, for example, how we deal with, and I just lost it, storage containers. So that's kind of our update, and happy to answer any questions.
Yes, you got my attention again at storage containers, so we'll certainly talk about that. Questions from the Deputy Mayor, please go right ahead.
Thank you, Dave. In regards, I know just sort of interesting being at the environmental meetings today. You know, one of the big things we are going to be going forward with from a conservation point of view is consistency across the province. And when the ministry comes out with their final recommendations, everybody's asked be consistent from one community or one area to the other. And environmental, we tried to explain to some communities today what LiDAR is versus GIS systems, and they had no clue, some of the people that were there. But anyways, that's a side point. In your discussion about layering, if we get to that point where we're going to put layering on top of an EP or an assessment or whatever, will our staff be able to deal with the layering themselves in terms of a build application? Or will that have to still go through conservation authorities or other agencies, the county or whatever? Or will we be able to deal with that ourselves?
Through mayor to deputy mayor, there will be instances where it will be a township staff determination. There may be instances where it may still require conservation authority, such as a floodplain issue, where you may look to and want to have that expertise and input from the conservation authority, as it's likely a permit from the conservation authority would be required in any event. So there will be some elements where it will be a staff call. And then, like I say, there may be that where there is a conservation authority issue with flooding, that it likely staff will look to the conservation authority. Perhaps Derek can respond to that, but that's how I see that. And we looked at a few other municipalities and on the point of consistency, just to make sure where newer bylaws have been done after the new PPS and how they're implementing protection of provincial policy. And what we found is that the approach is similar to the direction that we'll be heading with the new bylaw and the official plan direction.
Derek, did you want to help answer that, or are you comfortable?
Through your worship, I'm comfortable with Dave's response there. I think he.
Excellent. Okay, thanks.
So
Paul?
I'll throw it at Derek then. You heard all the concerns locally from the people who have had their property reassessed or overlaid. With what's being said now, are you comfortable that we'll be able to handle the, I won't say complaints, but the expression of concern?
Through your worship to the deputy mayor, yeah, I believe through this process, with the revised mapping that we received and the work that Dave and his team and as well as with us, we're pretty confident that we'll have a better approach going forward.
That's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. Are there other questions from members of council? All right. I'll ask the quick question then to Dave. The shipping container issue continues to be a concern. Certainly in the residential areas, I think we've made it quite clear that the bylaw department team have done a great job of notifying their property owners that they're not in compliance with these shipping containers. Is there any outlook for that changes in the EP lands or agricultural lands when it comes to that shipping container issue?
To the mayor, we're looking at a couple different options for how council may want to deal with shipping containers in various zones. I think the how you may look at them in the agricultural zone may be different than how you look at them in the residential zones, as an example. And in the EP zones, well, once they're EP, I would suggest that you wouldn't want them in an EP zone. If there's particularly a flooding concern, you wouldn't want a shipping container in a flooding zone. So we're going to provide some alternatives back to council as part of the report and public meeting that's coming up in the new year.
All right. Well, that's encouraging. That's for sure. Paul, you had something else on that, did you? Nope, you're good. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? No, seeing none? All right. Well, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for being there. Sorry to hold you up all night, but glad you're there.
That's good. Thanks. Have a great night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you if we don't see you. Thank you. Members of council, do you have anything further? Okay, we've got a mover and seconder on the motion. So I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to an application. This is a zoning bylaw amendment application, the Red Up Properties. The recommendation says this. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 050-2025 zoning bylaw amendment application read up dated December the 8th, 2025. And item 1, that council be presented with a zoning bylaw generally consistent with the draft amendment found in Appendix F for the lands municipally known as 1943, 2015, and 2057 Fairgrounds Road South, as well as a no civic address for approval at the January 12, 2026 meeting. Okay, is there a mover and seconder to put this on the floor, please? Mr. Walker, Ms. Deneen, thank you very much. Hi there. Let's test that mic. I love to make sure it's working.
Thank you, Worship.
That's working.
Working perfect.
Hi, Nick.
How's it going?
Good.
So I just want to, basically my report does kind of outline kind of my recommendation, but I thought I'd give you kind of a quick overview. So staff is in recommendation of the proposal, subject to modification to the draft bylaw that was brought forward. So if you recall at the October 29th public meeting, the original application brought forward by the applicant sought 2 site-specific zoning exceptions. The first one was to recognize and permit 2 existing single-detached dwellings in the subject lands. Staff is supportive of that and wants to carry that forward just because it is recognizing an existing legal non-conforming situation. The second was a request for reduction in minimum distance separation formula setback distance, which was from 130 meters to 10 meters to allow for the temporary and intermittent use of one of the existing barns in the property for the housing of livestock. In support of that, the applicant did advise that that barn was not critical to the livestock use of the overall farm operation. Again, it was for intermittent use similar to a loafing barn, and that it no longer supports water facilities or manure storage and also had gated control access. So that was some of the justification brought forward by the applicant. Staff had reviewed that and also reviews more of the policy documents behind it. We weren't in support of that request for minimum distance separation reduction. And as such, we've modified the draft bylaw to remove that reduction. And instead, we're requesting that that barn be rezoned to an AGEL, so a livestock exception use, which would prohibit the use of livestock in that barn moving forward. So the barn can remain on the property. It can be used for other agricultural uses such as storage of hay or agricultural equipment, but it could not be used for the housing of livestock. So provide the zoning goes through, that MDS requirement is removed because again, it's no longer a livestock facility. One additional change to the draft bylaw was also the request to rezone the remnant portion of 1943 Fairgrounds Road South to prohibit residential uses. Technically, this isn't required in the current circumstance because the overall subject lands already contain 2 dwellings, so additional dwellings would not be permitted. But it is more protection in the future to say that if the applicant came forward and resevered a larger farm parcel due to the large size of the property, they would prohibit residential uses on that remnant portion in the future. So it's more of protecting it, making sure that's consistent long term. So other than that, those are the modifications that are proposed for recommendation tonight by staff. I'm happy to address any other questions if you have them.
Okay, questions? Mr. MacArthur is going to go first. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just more, was there any considerations to making put in a separate access to that barn directly as far as gaining access to the retained lands around the house to be severed?
Yeah, so through your worship. So thank you for the comment. So that was something that was brought up at the public meeting. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to discuss with the applicant as well as the fire chief on that. So in terms of access, the barn, the remnant lands do have 3 existing accesses, 2 off Fairgrounds Road and 1 off the 1516 side road. So there is ample access to access the barn for farm kind of use. The other component was emergency access in case of a fire. Having opportunity to chat with the fire chief, understand that they would basically go on any property that does proper fire operation for them. They have the legal right to do so. So in terms of requiring the applicant to provide additional access, it's not something that planning staff would recommend. And again, if the applicant did require one in the future, if they determined that the use in that northern portion required one, they could apply to the township for an entrance permit, accordance with Public Works Department, basically.
All right, Paul, did you have a question too?
I just want to comment a bit, and I think I had the opportunity to speak with Nick today, and he's taken my thunder away from me. But I think in terms of in that there's no, because they're restricting or removing the ability for the barn to be used as a for livestock operation that negates our MDS separation. I don't have a problem with it, but I would have had a problem with it if it had. And I think we've done the right thing. And as explained to me today, emergency vehicles have the right to access any property to support emergency services. So I think they've done what they have to make it work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Were there other members of council with, yes, Mr. Broderick, thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Nick, I'm still a little concerned about the barn. How do we ensure 2-3 generations down the road that it remains livestock free?
Through your worship, thank you for the comment. So basically through the rezoning, there will be, so in terms of the site, the remainder of the site will be an AG exception zone to recognize the existing dwellings, as well as an AGER to prohibit future residential uses on the remnant parcel. But the actual portion of land containing the barn will also be rezoned to an AGEL. So that will carry forward in perpetuity. So if anyone ever did have a livestock use in there, if they tried to skirt the rules, bylaw would be in their rights to enforce the zoning bylaw and prohibit livestock uses in there. So the mapping will carry forward unless there's any change in the future, which would have to go through amendment by the council.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good question. Thank you. Councillor Deneen.
Through your worship to Nick, does that, you're rezoning around the barn, will that portion have to be around the barn be fenced off? So the cattle can't come right up to the back perimeter of the property, because pastured cattle will still come up to a fence?
Through your worship. So thank you for the question. So technically, no. So basically the zoning provide that as a livestock use exception zone on the property. It would be up to the applicant to ensure that livestock are not in there. So they'd have to take corrective measures, either gate it off or do any sort of improvements to the barn to prevent that from happening. Basically, the zoning would just ensure that that is the requirement for it, that you cannot have livestock. And if it was utilized for that use, they would be in contravention of the zoning bylaw.
But they can pasture the cattle around the barn.
Absolutely. So basically MDS, they can, moving forward, the cattle can roam anywhere on the property. It's just when it becomes a livestock facility is when the MDS requirement is triggered.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other members with any questions? Any other questions? No. Nick, I would have a question, perhaps yourself or Derek could answer. You know, procedurally, I think I know this answer, but I want to ask it so the public can hear it too if it's necessary. Procedurally, this property has met all of the requirements that has been laid out with all of the they've given all the responses that are necessary for us to move this forward. Your report is based on a recommendation that's going to give the applicant the comfort in knowing that they can move ahead if council approves it. But can it be appealed? And an appeal process for something like this, can it be appealed by any of the neighbors or family or anything like that?
Thank you, Worship. So in terms of appeal rights, so there are appeal rights for Plan Act applications. Through recent legislation, it has been changed. So typically it used to be kind of any member of the public. Currently for a zoning bylaw amendment, it would be only appealable by the applicant themselves, council, as well as a prescribed body, which is typically a utility company. There's a few other that are listed in there, but due to the legislative changes from the province, adjacent property owners or other members of the public that aren't the current owners would not be able to appeal it.
Okay. So then the other point I wanted to add or ask was that, well, the barn continues to be a bit of a question, and we're satisfying the MDS requirement by prohibiting livestock in it if this passes. Would there be anything in there that would prevent the owner of the barn, after this is done, to just dismantle the barn and eliminate the barn, take it apart and wipe it out, and then apply for or build another barn somewhere else on the property that would be far enough away that they could have livestock if they wished.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, absolutely. So basically the zoning for the portion of the barn would just prohibit the livestock use. Moving forward, the next day, the applicant could choose to remove the barn or improve it for other uses that are not livestock related. And yes, they could apply to reconstruct any sort of other livestock facility or other agricultural barn. And if it was a livestock facility, they would have to comply with the MDS requirement for that new structure. So as a part of the building permit application, planning staff would review that at the time.
So that's what I'm saying is that if the applicant or the landowner, after this process completes, could remove the barn and build another barn out or far enough away that the MDS would not be an issue to the current landowner there, or perhaps any other neighboring landowners, because the MDS doesn't just apply specifically to this severed parcel. It applies to everybody around that site. Is that correct? Just firming that up.
Yeah, that's correct. So provide the barn comply with setback requirements for the zoning bylaw, MDS is typically a 750-meter radius they would review for existing other receptors in the area. But yes, they'd be able to apply for that. And provided they met it, it would be approved.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Janine?
Nick, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but what's the size of the severed property, the residual?
The larger remnant lands?
Yes.
That is a great question. I believe it's 70.
Is it a hectare?
Oh, the smaller, the one to be severed, it's 0.76 hectares. So it's just under a hectare.
So if the barn was included, would it be a 1 hectare? I'm wondering.
I would have to see potentially there could be an opportunity for that. It is set a little bit further back and there are setback requirements for that. So it would be borderline if it was on that 1 hectare kind of maximum limit.
Okay, I just wonder if they would consider including the barn with that for the 1 hectare and just alleviating all of this.
Yeah, so looking at that, I can kind of address through the worship that as well as that the township OP, there are some circumstances where the remnant the surplus dwelling lot would contain the barn structure. This is typically for kind of heritage structures and kind of keeping the character. However, staff typically don't recommend it because really this is becoming a rural residential property. And when you have a previous agricultural structure, it tends to lead to kind of legal non-conforming uses occurring in that. It's not supposed to be for that agricultural use. So we typically wouldn't recommend in accordance with the OP, but there are some circumstances where we have based on individual merit.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Nothing further? All right, Derek, you have nothing further? All right, thank you very much, Nick. Good job on this, and appreciate there was a good public meeting and a lot of comments you had to go through there. So thank you for doing that. Members of council, there's nothing further. I have a motion in front of me with a mover and seconder. I am prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? Thank you. That carries unanimous. All right. Now we're going to go to Parks and Recreation. And yet again, we're going to talk about our trailer washrooms. Okay. Before we go on the trailer washrooms, I want to point out with all of the paper on my desk tonight, I neglected to highlight a public participation item that was included. It was buried in here and I apologize to the writer. So if you may, it is related to the washroom. So I'm going to bring up the public participation item that was here and I neglected to bring it forward. So I'll bring it up and I'll do our best to answer this question before we even have a further discussion on the washroom. This was submitted by Miss Ann Arell, and she asks a kind of a lengthy question, so give me a moment. I'd like to comment on the necessity of having good, clean, accessible washrooms available to the community and its guests at the station on the green. I understand that the new expanded Village Green has increased demand for the use of these facilities, which used to be updated and cleaned on a more regular basis. It is ironic that the washrooms are available less rather than more since the creation of the Village on the Green. The temporary portable washrooms are not a satisfactory solution. Not only were they poorly positioned, but they were frequently out of commission. My recommendation is that the station on the green washrooms be available to the public during normal business hours for the community, for the Creemore community businesses and on weekends when special events are held.
The odd exception may be made for large weddings, but generally the washroom should be available to the public and closes close to the public after 6 p.m. at night for special functions. As for the go and washrooms being open 24/7 last year, that certainly wasn't my experience. I have gone to use the washroom there and they were locked. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend the council meeting on Monday night, so I am writing this letter to you to express my concerns over the lack of clean washroom space at the heart of the village. I don't think the issue is lack of washroom space, but rather its maintenance and its availability to the public. Additional portable washrooms can be brought in as required. Please do not hesitate to contact me at this additional phone number. Mr. Rell continued to write a second email, which did not come in on time to be included, but I will, if I may, just stretch that. She did bring a comment in regards to vandalism in her second email. Although it didn't arrive on time, I do want to comment that, yes, we did see more vandalism at the station on the green washrooms this year, Mr. Rell, we did. And I know that the volunteers at the hall who look after the station on the green had to deal with that, and it was brought to the attention of staff as well. So there was some vandalism, not excessive, if you don't mind me saying, but frankly, the type of washroom vandalism that we have seen in the past. And so to these points, I would say to Mr. Rell, first of all, let me again apologize for not including it in earlier in public participation. There is a great deal of information available about why washrooms are really important in tourism areas. As I said earlier, the County of Simcoe had a great report about that and how important it is. And that's why we're doing what we can to address this washroom issue. The portable washrooms in this trailer are a solution. They're not the best solution. They're not the only solution, but they are a solution, and they do provide a service that we can operate effectively and efficiently to the best of our abilities. And it was a bit of a learning curve for this past summer as we deployed 3 washrooms. If we look back in time, council, we had 2 washrooms on the agenda, and then we ended up with 3. So it actually did increase the workload by the staff for sure. But this particular one, in this particular location, it's an ongoing concern. And I think we've talked about it a lot already tonight, but I do want to assure Mr. Rell that we're going to receive a report here in a minute, and we're going to have further conversation about this very issue. So I'm just glad that I had the opportunity to bring this forward for you right now and tell you that we are in fact paying attention to it and doing what we can with what we have. Okay. Council, report PCR 015-2025 is the trailer washroom summer 2025 report by Terry Vachon, the general manager and director. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 015-2025 trailer washroom summer 2025 dated August the 8th, 2025 for information. I tell you right now, just getting tired of saying this. I can't wait to start fubbing up the 2026 numbers. Can I get a mover and seconder on the motion? Mr. Broderick, thank you. Mr. Walker, thank you. Hi, Terry. Take it away.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll try to be as quick as I can possibly be. The purpose of this report was to bring an information report to council to capture first year. As council knows, as you mentioned, this was the first year for us to operate these trailers. We learned a lot. As you know, we sent council a lot of emails over the course of the summer with some updates. So I was hoping to capture most of those updates in this report here for council and for the public. We learned a lot. We have some work to do on these washrooms for 2026. They are manageable. They do work. We do have some challenges in Creemore, but it sounds like we have a good first step here with council's decision this evening. We have some dedicated staff, Your Worship. As you know our crew. We had a dedicated lead hand that really took these washrooms on and really cared about them, and I thought he did a really good job this summer. But with the additional assistance of staff that we have proposed to council to have some staff work these washrooms on the weekend will definitely help alleviate some of that pressure and let us to continue to be on top of these washrooms. With that, I'm available for any questions that I may have from my report.
Thanks very much, Terry. Any members of council with any questions? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
Terry, not a question, but a comment. Looking at that pump that was burnt, right beside it is a tap where we can hook a hose up to pressurize that system directly. So we can bypass those pumps that are burning up very easily.
Yeah, Your Worship, with that being said, after council's decision there, I was just talking to Mr. Peru as well, and we're going to really explore opportunities to try to tap everything in directly. I'm sure there's got to be ways to do it. So we have some time and we'll take that direction and we'll try to figure stuff out.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you, Paul. Is there any other members of council with any questions or comments about this report? Yes, go ahead, Phyllis.
I remember when we were kind of researching things that they could be hooked up to town water, like an RV could, and sewage, like a holding tank, just like an RV. And you've likened it to an RV many a time. And like the deputy mayor said, just as soon as he saw that, he knows that it can be hooked up to town services. That's a good thing to know. Thanks.
Yep, for sure. Thank you. Other members? Okay. Can I just ask a question? Do we get any resolution on the automatic door opening for the accessible washroom? It was an ongoing concern, that motor system. Has the company provided any solutions for that, or is it simply just replace the motor?
Yeah, Your Worship, yeah, it's simply replace the parts. There's no solution to it. If you can kind of picture this, the issue is that those doors only work with the mechanical. So you have to press the button to actually open it. People get impatient and they want to open it right away. So they pull on it. So they pull on the motor, strips the motor. It doesn't last. They're not patient enough to let the door open on its own. They're used to wanting to open it up. So the public gets a little, and sometimes it won't unlatch quick enough. So they're pulling on the handle, trying to get it open as quickly as possible. Sometimes they didn't press the button properly and then they're trying to pull and then they'll strip the handle. So this kind of stuff happens frequently. It's the design of the trailer. We just have to replace parts as they break.
Yeah. I guess the other interesting point too is that those accessible washrooms, you can't get stuck inside them because the button to release them releases it immediately and the door opens. Like there's no way of being stuck inside. It's a simple button and it just opens the door.
Yeah. But it doesn't open quickly.
I have to say, Terry, I think that we need a little bit of signage there, and some creative signage, particularly when we had to deal with the locking mechanism, where if you turned it twice, it was locked too far, and then if you turned it back only once, it was still locked, but you thought it was unlocked. So I think we need to have some educational graphics made that can help people understand. This is not your average doorknob with just a single bolt lock. You gotta turn it twice, to make it lock. I know our fire department darn near tore the door off it, and I would hope that our recreation department and our fire department understand, don't let those guys tear those doors off, please. It's not necessary. So, anyway, I would hope that we can do that, Terry. Maybe take a really good look at better graphics and instructions on how these things work, as advisories for the public to make it smoother for them to use the facilities. Okay. Council, it's a good report. I'm glad we got it. Yes, Mr. Walker.
Your Worship, on the same note that you just mentioned, I think that with the automatic doors, maybe that's another sign thing on the outside saying, please be patient. The door does have a relay, will take a few seconds to activate after you push the button, just so that people are aware of process. I think that's something that we need to do as well.
Automatic door.
Yes, it does take a bit of time to release. So I think that signage would maybe help us alleviate some damage to broken doors as well and buttons.
Fair enough. Terry?
Yeah, point well taken. There was a lot of signage that was put up once we started struggling with these doors.
I know.
And people just wouldn't read them. A lot of times we would get phone calls and people were temporarily kind of locked in, and we'd say, read the sign, and they'd go, oh, they wouldn't read it. You know, they're too impatient, unfortunately. When you have to go, you got to go, I guess. But nevertheless, we'll put up some more signage. We're gonna signs all over the place.
I know. I know it's been a long night. We talked about this a lot. I just want to tell you, at our house, we have a black plastic bin that sits on our deck, and it clearly has the word deliveries right on it, and has the word Amazon and you know, and all that written on it, clearly on the box. And we get deliveries all the time sitting right in front of the box. We get deliveries now put on top of the box, but they don't actually open the lid and put it in the box. So that's just following directions. So thank you. I understand. Council, nothing further? We've got a motion in front of us. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you, Terry, for the report and the work on this. And we do have another report from Recreation. This is the Stainer Lawn Bowling Tree Removal. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 016-2025, Stainer Lawn Bowling Tree Removal dated October the 8th, 2025. And item 1, that Council approve the removal of the tree located at the Stainer Lawn Bowling Site, 205 Ontario Street, to a maximum amount $7,000 plus HST, sole sourcing for the services from Brett Falls Land Services. And item 2, that the amount be funded from the Tax Stabilization Reserve Funds. Mover and seconder, Mr. Walker, Mr. Beelan, thank you very much. Terry, you want to add anything to this?
Just very quickly, Your Worship, it's the wording is a maximum amount up to 7,000. There might be some cost savings while working with other departments that require tree services in that area as well. And there's a need of a crane to actually cut that tree down. So we're hoping to do it cheaper than 7,000. It's up to that amount.
Yeah, that's an up to limit. That seems fair. And I'm glad that you're looking at other services between yourselves, Recreation and Public Works. There's other trees that can be removed. And I can appreciate sole sourcing to a contractor, this Falls Land Services. We've worked with that contractor before. And this work needs to be done this year, like as in 2025, next week, if not even this week. Okay, thank you.
Yes, confirmed, Your Worship. Yes. Yep. Mr. Falls was texting me this evening asking me how it went. So yeah, I think he's ready to go this week.
I get it. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, quick question, Terry. Does our staff, our trucks, for example, work with Brett to do this work, or does he do it all himself?
All by himself,
Okay,
with his crew.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Contractor with his team and, you know, okay, nothing further? All right. And just an FYI too, this tree is a result of the ice storm. This is an ice storm tree that's caused issue. So it's got to go. Yeah, right near the edge of the building, and it's just unfortunate. Time to go. Members, we have a motion in front of us. I'm prepared to call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving on, page 6. Guess what? Page 6 is the last page. Is there more on 5?
He's on a different agenda.
Oh, well, is your agenda over? Because, you know, I could call the meeting over if you want. Okay. Bylaw number 2561, bylaw amendment for 7391 and 7411 County Road 91, 200 Sutherland Street South, 207 and 209 Quebec Street, and 1018 County Road 42 Stainer. And there's an explanatory note in here. Nick is also here to explain that. I'll look for a mover and seconder, Mr. MacArthur, Mr. Broderick. Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Worship. This is going to be a quick one. This is related to the Lilac Parklands. So you recall back about 6 months ago in June 2nd, Council adopted a site-specific official plan amendment as well as approved a draft bylaw to go forward to Council. It unfortunately couldn't go forward because the OP was also appealed at the same time. So there was a decision on November 18th from the Ontario Land Tribunal, which has resolved and settled the official plan component of it. So the official plan, the lands are redesignated. So with that done, this is now the bylaw that was previously approved by Council going forward for execution. So that's what's before you tonight. But because there was a 6-month gap, I thought it'd be beneficial to give you a brief overview.
All right, thank you. Council, the recommendation is be it resolved that bylaw 2561 being a bylaw to regulate the use of lands and the character, location, and use of buildings, structures, or lands municipally known as 7391-7411 County Road 91, 200 Sutherland Street South, 207 and 209 Quebec Street, 1018 County Road 42, Stainer, be presented or read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 8th day of December 2025. Mr. Walker, thank you. Ms. Deneen, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? And the bylaw carries. Thank you. This is the council remuneration bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2573 being a bylaw to set the remuneration to be paid to members of council and the corporation of the township of Clearview be passed and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed this 8th day of December 2025. Moved by the deputy mayor, seconded by Mr. Broderick. For clarity, this is for the November 15th, 2026. Council date is when this will come into play. Members of council, you've heard the bylaw. All those in favor? And that bylaw carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 12 is there notice of motion and new business? Seeing none. Confirmatory bylaw. Be it resolved bylaw 2574 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the December 8th, 2025 council meeting be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 8th day of December 2025. Mr. Beelan, thank you. Ms. Deneen, thank you. All those in favor? Confirmatory bylaw, thank you. Council, this is the motion to adjourn, one of our longest meetings we've had this year, I think. Actually, it's been quite a day. Let's just call it even 9:30 p.m. Be it resolved, council meeting be adjourned at 9:30 p.m. Deputy Mayor, Mr. Broderick, all those in